Turn the lights down. Turn the lights down and just put this on. It's right behind you. Johan.
There's nothing this parliament can do. With or without you, people are going to occupy land. We require no permission from you, from the president, from no one. We don't care. We can do whatever you want to do. Who are you to tell us whether we can occupy land or not? We are going to occupy land. South Africa occupy land. That's who we are. So whatever you want to do, we can withdraw my membership from this useless parliament.
Yes, honorable member.
Must never be scared to kill. A revolution demands that at some point there must be killing, because the killing is part of a revolutionary act. Shoot to kill. Namaza. Kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer. Pa, pa.
The man of D-Day in PE is a white man. So these people, when you want to hit them hard, go after a white man. They feel a terrible pain because you have touched a white man. Not because Mashaba and Suri will not be touched. They will be touched, no one. But we are starting with this whiteness. We are cutting the throat of whiteness.
Shoot to kill. Namaza. Kill the brewer, the farmer. Kill the brewer.
All right. Good evening or morning or whatever.
Yeah, wherever the fuck you are in the world.
Yeah,
That was beautiful.
Yes, Trump really fucking let Ramaphosa have it. He's just
And
like, there
did,
is no white genocide happening in my country.
did you see did you see the thing when this was actually airing?
No,
Like, bro, they looked so fucking uncomfortable.
I didn't see it until after it had happened because I don't watch it.
Oh, because there was in the middle, like I just happened to catch it, like because I'm recuperating at home, so I just happened to catch it while I'm here. Um, there was a woman who shouts out like in the middle of the questions and shit, and I read somewhere that apparently she's like a South African politician as well, and supposedly she tells Trump to go, to go and go to South Africa and see for yourself. And some people interpreted that as a veiled threat because they apparently the entire time that they were showing what's his name again, Julius Masima, whatever the fuck it is. She's like a supporter of his.
Yeah, and
So
that
the
guy
idea is,
literally tells people
get
go out and kill.
yeah. So the idea is that that's a veiled threat, because if if the God Emperor comes to South Africa, then the hope is that he gets killed, dude. Like seriously, the moment that any of these fuckers, like whether it's South Africa or Iran or whatever, if something, or even if Israel, right, because of the whole move to recognize Palestine. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
if any of these fuckers decides to to fuck with the God Emperor, like dude.
I'm not entirely sold that that's happening. Because there's still been nothing official about that. It's just been, sources inside the Trump administration say that he's going to make moves to recognize a Palestinian state, and it's just like, yeah, but I don't believe that's going to happen just yet.
Yeah, but I don't see it. Yeah, I don't see Trump or Vance talking about it directly as well.
Yeah, so that's why I'm
So
I'm still like meh, I'm iffy on that. I
yeah,
could, and well, the fact that he basically told Netanyahu that no, you're not attacking Iran because I'm going to make peace with Iran whether you like it or not. That would piss them off, but I don't think that the Israelis are stupid enough to try to kill Trump, because they're fighting a war on two fronts right now, and the last thing I want to do is try to kill the American president, because there would be no Israel after that. Like, if Trump got assassinated by the Israelis, it would be the worst mistake that a Jew has made, since kicking Hitler out of art school. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, which I don't even know if there was a Jew in charge of the art school, but but like, it would be a terrible, terrible mistake for the
no,
Israelis
I
to
get
make.
you. Like I mean, to be perfectly honest, like Trump is probably the most pro-Jew president, like
Yeah. I
in
mean,
living memory,
the
basically.
Abraham Accords, that's the thing people aren't talking about. Like, a lot of people took like the whole like, oh, Pete Hegseth canceled his trip to Israel, and Trump and Netanyahu aren't talking after the whole Iran thing, and it's just like, the thing that people don't want to talk about is that, like, while he's meeting with like Qatar and he's meeting with Syria, you know what he's trying to get them to do? Sign the Abraham Accords. So it's like Trump's turning his back on Israel, yeah, by trying to get all of their enemies to make peace with Israel and sign a trade agreement with Israel. Yeah, he's really trying. He's turning his back on it. Like, people are so fucking stupid, but the anti-Israel cucks are so desperate for like any kind of win that they will, they'll take like even the most mild like, if somebody in our camp has the most mild criticism of Israel, they instantly go, "Oh, we're winning! The veil is falling away! Finally, the
Yep.
it is so over." Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, like it's like, oh, Trump is turning on Israel by isolating their enemies,
Yes, by trying to, by trying to get all of Israel's enemy states to officially start.
normalizing relations with them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, we got a guy in the chat, Stolen Hellcat. Ever hear of Alfred Alfer? No, I haven't. Who is Alfred Alfer? Stolen Cat. Stolen Hellcat. I apologize. I said your name incorrectly. Very much apologies. Very apologies, sir. I don't even know what accent that is.
Good question. I don't know.
But anyway, no, I'm gonna. Here's a hot take that is not going around a lot in right wing circles. Um, no refugees, period, including these boars. Listen, I'm trying to be consistent here. I don't care that they're white people. Like, I don't care. Like, no refugees, none. Period. Sorry, not sorry, but the fucking club is full right now. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, if we're gonna take in refugees, I would rather it be these, like, people who are actually needing it, like, these South African farmers, these Boer farmers, these Afrikaner farmers. I'm willing to concede that, like, yeah, in an ideal world, would we take in South African farm refugees who are currently being slaughtered and having their property, seized? Of course we should, but the world isn't ideal, and I don't want any refugees coming from anywhere. Period. Right now, full stop. Sorry, not sorry, but you know, At least it's only 60. It was like 60 Afrikaners instead of like 10,000 Arabs from fucking Syria or wherever. So
Yeah.
it's a small amount. They're going to whatever. Hopefully, not be assholes. But still, just no. I don't want any refugees, and I'm not going to suddenly walk that back just because these refugees happen to be white. No, thank you. But still, it is funny, regardless, to deny that there's currently a lot of anti-white crimes being committed in South Africa. Ramaphosa is denying that they're happening, and Trump basically just says, "Listen here, motherfucker, let's dim these lights. We're gonna play you this video." He fucking plays this whole video to essentially shame Ramaphosa for fucking lying through his teeth.
Yep.
And that's the chant, Julius. I can't remember the dude's last name, but
Yeah, Malima or Masim or some shit like that.
Yep, his whole, kill the white. Like the whole rant. I can't remember the exact translation of the chant, but it's basically kill white people.
Yep.
I'm saying you was not called for the killing of white people, at least for now. I can't ever see the future. Yeah, but you understand.
Yep, there he is, looking at the screen like, why do you show this? Why are you doing this to me? Why do you embarrass me? We're going to shoot them with the machine gun. They are going to run. We're going to shoot them. They are going to run. That's what the translation on the screen says.
Whether they like it or not, if they object, they can seek refugee in America.
They can seek refugee in America. Oh, well, that's his thing, is it? That's his policy fucking prescription.
Stolen
they got to America.
Yeah, and that's hey, it's like if what we're going to do is we're going to seize your land and we're going to murder you, and if you want to flee and go to America, then go. We won't stop you, but if you stay, we're going to kill you. It's a real Sophie's choice. Anyway, he said Trump is a good actor. Zionist Jews would be mad. Secular ones could care less. Like what? What do you like? Bro, I need you to be more specific. What are you talking about? Like, you realize there's like a minute delay between you watching the stream and what I actually say. So, I'm responding. So, I'm not sure what you mean. Like, what are you referring to? Zionist Jews would be mad. Secular ones could care less about what? If Trump got killed, or what? And I mean, the delineation line between Zionist Jews and first of all, most Jews, full stop, secular, religious, you're talking 80% of all Jews in the world consider themselves Zionists. So that dividing line, you know what I mean? That doesn't tell me anything. Zionist Jews. And then the difference between Zionist Jews and secular Jews, that doesn't make any sense either, since, Zionism doesn't require you to be religious. It just requires you to believe that the Jewish people, deserve to have their own land or their own sovereign state in the indigenous homeland of their ethno-religious group. Does it make me a Scotist because I think the Scots should, control the land known as Scotland? Does it make me an Englishist because I believe England should be for English? You know what I mean? It's a stupid fucking term. That's why it's when people throw around, oh, you fucking Zionist, I'm like, yeah, apparently indigenous people aren't allowed to. I'm a Filipinist because I think because I think the Philippines should belong to the Filipinos. Shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Zionist, eat shit. I'm so tired of that fucking word. I don't describe myself as a Zionist necessarily because I think that it's like I said, it's kind of a stupid nothing, not for the reasons I just laid out. Like, I'm not a fucking Scotist, like I said, because I think Scotland should be for Scots. You know what I mean? It's stupid. I think that's kind of self-evident that, yes, your people should be sovereign in the indigenous homeland of your people. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm. No, anyway, so
well, no, I'm waiting for him to respond now at this point, but like,
don't worry about it. Fuck.
well, no, he's not like trolling. I'm just trying to understand what the hell he's like. I'm trying to understand what he means.
No, I know, but just don't worry about it. Just
yeah. But anyway, let's watch the rest of this video. But
It's right here. Burial sites. Over 1,000 of white farmers, and those cars are lined up to pay love on a Sunday morning. Each one of those white things you see is a cross, and there's approximately 1,000 of them.
God,
They're
that
all
is
white farmers, the family of white farmers. And those cars aren't driving, they're stopped there to pay respects to their family member who was killed. And it's
Dude, Ramaphosa is so uncomfortable.
Anything like it.
yeah, the guy is
Both sides
he's
of the road
just
give crosses.
absolutely just getting roasted, dude.
dude, that is like the White House cuck chair, basically.
Turn the light.
Yeah, oh yeah, true.
Like every time he brings a world leader into the White House, sits him in that chair, and then fucking gives him just
Isn't
like
JD Vance? You mean?
yeah. Well, I mean, JD Vance is
Yeah.
usually sitting to Trump's left on like the couch.
Yeah, but like if I remember correctly, isn't that like where Vance was sitting when they had the meeting with
No,
Zelensky?
Zelensky was sitting in that chair. That's why I said it's like the
okay.
White House cuck chair, because that's where.
Yeah, okay, you're right. Because I was remembering it wrong. So yeah, if it is the same place that Zelensky sat on, then yeah.
Yeah, that's where Trump dresses down world leaders who act like idiots, who act like assholes. Like,
Yep.
but no, it was a beautiful moment. It was like, again, this is what I voted for. This is Trump swinging his big dick around and fucking mushroom stamping everybody with it. Like, listen here, you're gonna do what I want, okay? You're gonna stop acting like a cunt. You're gonna stop. We're gonna have this meeting, and if you want any kind of support from the United States in any meaningful way, you are gonna put a stop to this genocide.
Mm.
Now, this is a genocide, by the way. Like, if we want to, like, I hate to keep coming back to this, but it's often described as like what's happening in Gaza right now as a genocide, even though the population has increased.
The thing in Gaza is not a genocide.
No, the
Gaza
population. Yeah, the population has increased. Like, and they're at war.
No, I don't. No, it doesn't matter. Like whether the population increases or not is not, I don't think, indicative of a genocide or not. Right. The problem with labeling what's happening in Gaza as a genocide is that it doesn't match it. Genocide to me is a deliberate targeting of a specific group of people.
Yeah.
That's a quote unquote protected characteristic.
Yeah, and they're
going after Hamas,
exactly.
Going after Hamas, and then having people, Arabs in that area die does not a genocide make.
No, I agree. Especially because when you consider that inside Israel proper, what is it, like 15 to 20% of the Israeli population are
Arabs,
Arab Muslims, and they have all the same rights. And it's like, and
like if you were gonna do a genocide, like you would be targeting those people first because you already have them.
Yeah, they're literally inside of your sovereign borders, and they're just like going about their business. I saw a video. Somebody was commentating over it, and they were mocking it, talking about how like, oh, look at how poorly treated the Arabs living in Israel are. They have to wait in line
Look at
at
how
this
they're
coffee shop.
genociding us, bro.
Yeah, they had to. Well, I mean, no, but I mean, it was like ironic commentary. This dude was like, look at how poorly treated the Arabs inside Israel are. They have to wait in line at an Arab-owned coffee shop. Like, and I can't remember what city this was in Israel, but it was a Israeli city, and it's a coffee shop, and it had had Arabic on the walls. And there was people waiting in line, and obviously some of them were Arabs. You could tell a lot of the women were Muslims because they were wearing hijabs and stuff.
Hijab.
But then there were women in line who weren't wearing hijabs who were either not religious Arabs or were Israeli Jews who, women aren't required to cover. So it's like, and these people were all waiting in line. They were just chatting, waiting for their coffees. And this is what's happening in Israel. It's like, yes, look at how poorly the Arabs in Israel are treated. Look at them. They can own businesses and have to wait in line for their coffee. How awful. Like, but this is actually what it is. Because first of all, whites don't make up 20% of South Africa's population. They make up less than 5. It was much, much, much higher than that at one point. And they actually are being specifically targeted. They are having their property seized. They are having their rights taken away by the South African judiciary. They are and government, and they are being murdered. Just literally drug out of their homes and murdered. So, like, yes, this is this actually qualifies as a genocide to me. But again, no refugees. Sorry, not sorry. Like, everybody always likes to talk about how badass the Boers were. I mean, even though the Boers lost the war, but they always talk about how like they were these like super valiant, fucking like absolute badass soldiers. What happened to that fighting spirit? You know what I mean? But when you're massively outnumbered, I get it. And most of these people aren't soldiers; they're farmers. Like, I'm not trying to be like completely obtuse, but you get my point. It's just like, one of the reasons why I don't feel bad for Afrikaners is because a lot of them kind of voted for this stuff. Like, they voted away their own country. They didn't stand up and fight for their own rights. And now they're kind of reaping the consequences, and now they're expecting Daddy America to swoop in and save them. And we are, and fine, if we're going to have to do it, then fine. But like I said, I'm being consistent. I don't want any refugees from any country. I was against taking in Ukrainian refugees at the start of the war whenever women were fleeing the country and spreading out throughout Europe, and some of them wanted to come to the United States. I don't care if you're beautiful Slavic women. Fuck off. You're not coming here. Like, I'm consistent in this. No refugees, period. I don't care what's happening in your home country. I don't care. Like, I'm not gonna beg for refugee status from Canada if shit broke bad here in the United States. But what can I say? But anyway, no, Trump has had a banger of a week. An absolute banger of a week. He got his big, beautiful bill. Big, beautiful bill. He passed it. It passed the House. Now it's got to go to the Senate.
Yeah, what does that actually like maintain? Because I legitimately have no idea what.
I've got the White House thingy pulled up right here for it.
Okay.
Also, Stolen Hellcat left. I can see. He's not in the chat anymore. He's not responding, and the number of viewers went down by 1. So
it's okay.
I think he left. Rip Stolen Hellcat. Come on, bro. Like, I just was trying to get some clarification. Maybe I'm too pro-Jew for him. Maybe I like Jews too much. That's a common criticism. I'm either accused of being a, goy-opt fucking retard or being Jewish myself. So that's the most hilarious one when people and this happens to me on X all the time. Like, I'll say something even like remotely pro-Israel. Like, I don't know. It's war. War is ugly. This is kind of what war looks like. And they're all like, yeah, whatever, Jew. I'm just like, I'm literally a Scot. Like, I'm American. I'm as white as the driven snow. Yeah, goy-opt. Like, you got psyoped into supporting Jews. I'm like, no, not really. I don't think so. I'm too critical of Jews to I think, like, I was in an X space. Every time I get into X spaces and I talk, I need to like low key like turn on OBS and record it so I can make content out of it. But no, because this was actually brilliant. It's a great case for why I'm like, I don't think I'm goy-opt or psyopt into whatever the fuck the term is. Like, so I'm in this thing and I'm in this space for an hour and we're just talking and like obviously this is like a pro-Israel, like a lot of the guys in there were either Zionist Christians or they were Jews, and I'm in there with them and we're all just like shooting the shit. We're all clearly pro-Israel. We're whatever, and yet naturally Ye comes up. And even though I'd spent the last hour basically glazing Israel, You know,
Yep.
when Ye comes up, and I was talking about back in 2022, whenever he did the whole DEFCON 3 tweet, and I was talking about, and I was just like, me and my co-host, like at first we were kind of sympathetic to him, not because, and I literally in the middle of me saying not because we don't like Jews, and they know that because I just spent an hour talking about like Jew stuff and being on their side. The whole room, except for like the host and the co-host, basically turned on me. Like they weren't mean about it, but they all started cutting me off. They wouldn't let. I kept just like, guys, just let me get through this, and I promise I'm gonna land the plane, and you're gonna like what I got to say. Like at first, I was mildly sympathetic to him because yes, he had some bad experiences with some Jews in the entertainment industry, and then they flipped out on me again. I'm just like, what are you guys denying that you're overrepresented in the entertainment industry? And a few of them were like, most of them were honest enough to say, no, of course not, you know, whatever. But one of them was all like, you know, no, we're not. I'm just like, oh, whatever, dude. I didn't even engage with that guy. But I was trying to say, you know, a lot of them were saying, well, he chose to sign those record deals. He could have gone to Motown Records and worked with other blacks, but he didn't want to. I'm just like, yeah, fine, sure, whatever. But like, listen to me. Harley, I tried to talk about the Harley Pasternak thing, you know, his personal trainer, who we found out later on was a Fed, who threatened to have his kids taken away and have him committed to a mental hospital, have him doped into a coma. Like those texts got leaked out, and I was just like, he's a manic man, he's bipolar, he's had some bad experiences with Jews, and I've seen bipolar disorder in person, in real life, and I know that sometimes people, when they're in bipolar, like when they're in these manic episodes, they say and do things that when they come out of it, they horribly regret. And I bought into that at first. I was like, I think that Kanye was just having like a mental breakdown. The Harley Pasternak thing set him off. He started blaming all Jews for it. And then what happened a few months after that DEFCON 3 tweet? He tweeted out, I'm sorry, I don't hate Jews. Like, you know, and then he went radio silent for like a year and a half. He didn't tweet and really didn't do anything. He just kind of like, he didn't go on TV.
Just kind of disappeared. Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, fine. He had a manic episode. It lasted a couple months. He came out of it. He realized he said some shit he's not proud of, and you know, and then I was like, but when he came back, he tripled down on all of it and started selling the Klan hoods and the swastika shirts. And I'm just like, and he completely lost me at that point. Now I'm just like, no, he just hates Jews. And they still were mad at me for being for being like mildly sympathetic to Ye at first, and it's just like I didn't say this, but I was thinking it mostly because I just got fed up with being cut off, so I just left. But I wanted to say, guys, this is one of the problems.
This is what makes it so easy for people to fucking.
This is one of the problems with your community. You guys cannot stomach
handle
even
criticism.
the slightest dissent. Even though I spent an hour glazing you and your fucking home country, like you fucking the moment I wasn't even trying to say that like Ye did nothing wrong. I literally agree with you guys. Ye is an anti-Semite. Ye hates Jews. I was just trying to tell like a story, you know, trying to contextualize some of it, and they went.
And you fucking lose it. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so yes, I'm more than happy to criticize Jews whenever they act like rabid dogs. Whenever you say something even remotely anti, like dissent from them in the slightest. Like they get mad if you talk about, okay, guys, maybe the carpet bombing, maybe we can scale that back a little bit. I know boots on the ground is going to be ugly in its own way, but it plays better on the news when you're not blowing up buildings and leveling entire cities. But no, they get really mad when you say that. And it's just like, okay, you know,
actually, the thing is, I'm not sure. On that note, I am legitimately not sure, like, what the move would be.
It's just, it's easy. It's an easy propaganda, or it's an easy propaganda victory for the other side whenever you can take a drone photo of what Rafa looks like today versus what it looked like in 2023. You know what I mean? It's an easy propaganda victory.
No, I know, but I don't think anything can change that. If, like, you know.
Well, look, if Israel rolled 50,000 IDF troops across the border into Gaza and just fought them, you know, down into the tunnels and fought them, it's going to be bloody. It's going to be ugly. The body cam footage and the cell phone footage is going to be ugly in its own way. But it's like,
no, even if they like, that's the thing. Like, if they did that, like, I don't think there's going to be any wins to get it from this side. So
Rafa's not a city anymore. Rafa's gone, basically.
I know. But the thing is, it's that I legitimately do not believe that if they did the whole clear it city by city thing, I don't think it would have made much of a difference.
Well, no, obviously
Like
the
if they did the
anti-Israel.
building by building thing, like
Yeah.
it wouldn't have made a difference. So like this way, like I can understand why they did it, because like if they're gonna take the policy loss anyway, I like the optics loss anyway, right?
There would be
Then
fewer.
at least they're taking it as a loss with fewer like Israeli casualties.
There would still be civilian casualties in urban combat scenarios. Like I'm not denying that, but there would be fewer. There would be fewer, and there wouldn't be as many dead children because there would still be a lot of dead kids. There still would listen.
Uh,
I said fewer. I didn't say none. I said
yeah.
there would be fewer.
No, I know, and I'm agreeing with you on that. But that doesn't matter.
No, because it's
I
still going to
legitimately
look.
think that doesn't matter.
It is still going to look bad when the body cam footage off an IDF soldier leaks out, and
It doesn't even matter the
well, what
IDF
I'm saying is
the
he like
body cam footage
he
does.
it's gonna look bad when he guns down a Hamas soldier who literally has like a child strapped to his chest. Like they're
And
like,
it doesn't even matter if he does that. Like I don't think it's thing because like that shit. I think that shit won't come out. It's gonna be like the propaganda stuff anyway.
well, yeah, it
So
wouldn't be body cam. Well,
you
I mean,
know,
it wouldn't be leaked body cam footage necessarily, but yeah, the point is it'll look bad whenever they're shoot whenever. I mean, it would also kind of help, I think, the Israeli cause a little bit whenever you literally see Hamas soldiers using actual human shields, like literally forcing child soldiers to go out first to
no,
take,
but
you know.
Bobby, the problem is they already do that.
Yeah, but you don't see it as much.
Yeah, they are no, but like every time that you see that, like their fucking propaganda shields would say the same shit. Oh, this is just Israeli propaganda, and it's like people. I genuinely believe that when it comes to this conflict, people are already cooked. Like whatever prejudices you have are already going to be ingrained. Like
Yeah,
it's not going to matter who you believe either one way or the other. Like
and I'm
that's
happy.
why I genuinely don't disagree with the carpet bombing thing, because as
Yeah,
I said, like if they're gonna take the propaganda loss anyway,
yeah.
right? The optics loss, then they're at least doing it with like less actually lost Israeli lives, and
Yeah,
I
and
think that's
I am happy to
probably
concede
counts the most.
this is inconsistent with my classic stance of modern warfare is now just carpet bombs and drone strikes. It's just like there's like you
Hmm.
don't have to put boots on the ground in war anymore. You really don't. You really only need boots on the ground after the war is over to clean up and keep peace, basically.
Hmm.
Like the actual war at this point is just park a strike group or two in the nearest body of accessible body of water and just 24/7 drone strikes until they give up.
Yeah, basically.
So, and if Israel's going to fight that way, then I mean, fair enough. I guess that is the way that I think pretty much you kind of have to fight these days. At least if you have the
Hmm.
resources for it, which obviously Israel does. But they don't use
Yep.
drones as much as we do. They use actual like,
Fighter jets. Yeah.
yeah, yep. So anyway, the big beautiful bill, big beautiful bill. Anyway, shout out to Axios, which God, it's I hate that I like Axios so much. Lefty rag that it is, but their article format is just chef's kiss. I love it. The House voted Thursday to pass President Trump's big, beautiful bill after weeks of Republican infighting that repeatedly threatened to tank the GOP legislation. That was basically just the libertarian wing of the GOP being mad that this bill doesn't do enough to service the debt, and I'm just like, I don't give a fuck about the debt anymore. Like I don't care. No one's ever gonna call to collect on it. You know, we're never gonna pay it off. Who gives a shit at this point? We literally print the money anyway. Like I just don't care anymore. Anyway, why it matters? It's a major step towards getting the hulking fiscal package signed into law. Though the Senate will likely make substantial changes that could be difficult for House GOP headliners to swallow. Obviously, the vote was 215 to 214 in the House. And of course, Thomas Massey, who's like the second in command of the Libertarian wing of the party, the other one being Rand Paul. Like he's probably the leader of the Libertarian wing of the GOP. He's kind of like the face of it. Thomas Massey voted no. And then Warren Davidson of Ohio voted no. They were the only two Republicans that voted no. And one Republican abstained. He just voted present. He didn't, take a position. So 3 Republicans didn't support it. Like even Rand Paul voted yes on this, but Thomas Massie, who's a much more hardline libertarian than Rand Paul is, Rand Paul's a little more willing to play ball, whereas Thomas Massie is like Thomas Massie don't give a fuck. He'll vote no on everything Trump does if Trump like steps out of line. Thomas Massie has more in common with Ron Paul than his own son does, which is kind of funny. Because I'll be the first to admit, as much as I love Ron Paul would have never voted for this. He would have voted no on this. The bill would extend the 2017 Trump's tax cuts and aims to cut $1.5 trillion in federal spending, including through Medicaid work requirements and the repeal of the Inflation Reduction Act credits. It took considerable wrangling by House Republican leadership to get to this point, with members of the right-wing House Freedom Caucus threatening to oppose it as recently as Wednesday. The vote came after a marathon congressional session in which some lawmakers stayed up for days. The House Rules Committee met early Wednesday morning to mark up the bill, only ending late Wednesday night. House Democrats gummed up the works with several procedural votes, pushing the vote time back to 6:30 a.m. Eastern on Thursday. They tried to stop it and couldn't. I'm surprised they didn't try to filibuster the thing, but
Yeah.
I honestly don't think that like anybody. Well, I guess Cory Booker kind of like where he kind of like he should have saved that like that filibuster that he did, because he filibustered literally nothing. But he should have saved that filibuster he did for this if he really wanted to like actually try to achieve anything. But no, he didn't because he's retarded.
He's a fuck up.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that guy. Cory Booker really is like he's like Black Eric Swalwell. He just hasn't had sex with any spies that we know of. But like Eric
Well, that's because he's gay, so.
No, I mean, yes, but also no. I mean, he did date Rosario Dawson. Like he, Rosario Dawson's pretty hot. Well, she was. She's starting to get up there in age. I mean, I still would, but
Yeah, I'm not sure who that is, so I'm just gonna. Yeah.
Rosario Dawson.
Yep.
Well, let me fucking.
Let me educate you, sir.
Yeah, she doesn't look great with the braids. I don't like the braids. But she's
Oh. Okay, yeah, I know who she is.
Yeah, she's been around. She's an actress. She's been around for a long time. Like I said,
I don't know where I know she's from, but I recognize her.
Like I totally would. Like I'm down for it.
Yeah, I have no idea where I saw her from, but anyway.
But yeah, you've seen her in movies. She's been in it.
Yeah, I know where she is. Yeah, I know where she's. Yeah.
Here she is. She's starting to get up there in age. She's starting to look a little rough. But again, I'm disgusting. So. But anyway, yeah, it was a rough go, but they got the bill passed. We'll see what the Senate does with it. But the one big, beautiful bill is a chance for a once in a generation chance. Like I said, this is from the White House, so this is the official kind of statement from the White House on what the bill is. Now, here are 5 reasons why President Donald J. Trump's one big beautiful bill is a generational opportunity to deliver long-term changes Americans voted for. 1, the largest tax cut in American history. It delivers permanent tax cuts and bigger paychecks. This means an extra $5,000 in Americans' pockets with a double-digit % decrease to their tax bills. Americans earning $30,000 and $80,000 will pay around 15% less in taxes. I like that. It includes no tax on tips and no tax on overtime. I like that too. This makes good on 2 of the President Trump's cornerstone campaign promises and benefits hardworking Americans where they need it the most, their paychecks. It provides historic tax relief to Social Security recipients. It slashes taxes on senior Social Security benefits. Yeah, because in the United States, your Social Security tax or income is taxed, which is ridiculous to think about it. You pay taxes your entire life for Social Security, and then you start getting your Social Security taxes when you retire, or your Social Security checks when you retire, and you have to pay taxes on them. Like, I get why they do it because it's not solvent. Like we're gonna, Social Security is it's a loss. Like that's why we keep pouring money into it. People weren't supposed to live as long as they do now. when Social Security became a thing, it was supposed to be you retired at 65 and you were supposed to be dead.
No, like most people didn't even live up to 65 when Social Security was a thing. Like we were not expecting.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the
people
idea,
to,
is that you were expected to draw on it for maybe 10 years. You're expected to retire at 65 and then be dead by 75. But now people live to be 90 regularly. You can smoke, drink alcohol, be massively overweight, still live to be 90 years old.
Yep.
So they expected people to only be drawing on it for like 10 years, and now people are drawing it for 30. You know, and then population increase. That means more elderly, so on and so forth. So, like I said, that's the reason why they keep saying that like Social Security is insolvent. We're paying into a system that's just draining. Like there's that people whenever people in our generation, when millennials retire, it's likely that this won't be here for us at all.
Yeah, I'm not counting on fucking Social Security to be a thing.
No, not whenever I retire. When I'm 65. I wonder if your songs will still be shit when I'm 64. It protects Medicaid for Americans by removing 1.4 million illegals. It kicks illegal immigrants off taxpayer-funded Medicaid benefits, which I covered that before in one of my daily videos. That there is a shitload of illegals drawing on various welfare programs, including Medicaid. The bill eliminates waste, fraud, and abuse by ending benefits for at least 1.4 million illegal immigrants who are gaming the system. Good. See, you could see why a libertarian like Rand Paul would vote for something like this, even though it doesn't really service national debt. It doesn't really do anything to rein in most of our spending. But the tax cuts and getting fraud and getting fraudulent Medicare claims, Medicaid, and Social Security claims like off the books. I can see why other libertarians would go, does it do everything we want? No, but there's a lot of good stuff in here. Which I understand. Every libertarian in politics wants to be like Ron Paul and always stand on business and never compromise ever. And I agree that that's a good thing to be. Like Ron Paul was, but the problem with Ron Paul isn't like, and I hate saying this now, but he was very ineffective. Like
that's the entire no. But like the way I see libertarianism is this. Okay, just hear me out. Libertarian is just as much of a fantasy as communism is, in the sense that it can't live without all of these people taking the quote unquote privileged, the principled approach, right? None of them can exercise this principled approach unless there are other people who are taking the not principled approach according to them.
Well, yeah, I mean,
because the shit that they're doing is like, it's just not effective. It's not effective. It's never gonna work unless there's already like the backbone of an established society behind it, and the principles quote unquote that they espouse does not an established society make.
Well, the counter argument to that would be that libertarianism is heavily influenced by the first 100 years of American rule, in which that was the most libertarian that the country ever was, from 1780 to 1880. That was also
but it also presupposes that the I guess the disconnection that you had at that point in time.
Yeah.
Which is simply not possible.
Yeah, well, it also really helped that during those 100 years, the population was really small. It was incredibly ethnically and religiously homogenous, and everybody pretty much agreed.
Yeah, like this is the same thing. Like, yes, this is the most libertarian that the country was, right? But again, it presupposes an already functioning society that it can always fall back on.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I hate to use the word liberal because it's so loaded at this point, but it required a sort of English liberal, kind of British liberal state of white Christians to kind of build upon. So yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
And I mean, even what was it, Madison that said that this could only work with a moral and religious people. So it's just like
was it Madison or Adams? I'm pretty sure it was Adams.
Adams. Yeah, I have a bad habit of mixing some of them up sometimes. But yeah, I was like, and I kind of get where he's coming from. And even if you like even non-religious like people back then, because there were atheists back then, whatever. There were dudes that just deists who didn't consider themselves Christians, but they were all agreed on the same They all agreed on the same morality.
Same moral principles,
Yeah.
They all had the same
and that's the reason why
essentially they're all at the same starting point.
That's one of the reasons why the social safety nets are so big in like the small, like the Nordic countries, because they're first of all they're resource wealthy, so that helps. But the big thing,
their populations are fucking tiny.
Yeah, and they're also 90% native.
Like what's the population of fucking Denmark, for example? Like
a few million.
Less than the population of the city of fucking New York?
Yeah, it's a few million people. 10 million people at most, but I don't think it's that much.
Population 6 million.
There you go. See,
fuck, there's more people in Melbourne.
Yeah, and 90% of the people that live in that country are Danish. So it's just like they're ethnically homogenous, they're religiously homogenous, and it's just like, and then so there's these things that you have to have all these things. It's like it's hard to be libertarian in a country this big with this many people of this many disparate political beliefs. It's hard to pull that off.
No, it's not hard. I don't think it's hard specifically because I think it's hard to be effective. I think is what you're looking for. It's not hard to be a libertarian. I think it's the easiest fucking thing ever to be a libertarian because all then you can do is you can just preach that you're better than everyone else, but never actually do anything.
The politics of leave me alone, please leave me alone. Please.
Like generally, I agree with that, right? But like the entire thing is that if you want to be a libertarian and you profess yourself to a libertarian, you literally just the only thing you need to say is, "Oh, this does not agree with my principles," and never actually get any fucking thing done.
The first seed of doubt in libertarianism planted in my mind was whenever I asked myself, "Do we really not need foreign intelligence?" And I'm just like, "Obviously, we do." I'm like, "Well, that's not a libertarian perspective."
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, oh, maybe I need to start questioning everything. It was just like because
as much as literally everyone here hates the CIA, right? But like,
no, I mean,
I need the CIA.
Well, we could get rid of the CIA and give foreign intelligence to like the Navy. You know what I mean? And just make it a part.
The function of the CIA is still required. Yeah. Like we might not need the agency as is, but. Like the specific function of what it was built to be.
We have to keep assets in other people's countries, especially enemy countries, so that we know what they're doing, and we could stave off potential threats. It's just in the modern world, if you don't have intelligence, you're retarded. Like you're basically shooting yourself in the foot. But to ask libertarians, we don't need any assets anywhere in the world ever for any reason. And I'm just like, I don't know if I agree with that though. Like, I don't know. I used to believe that, but then like, I don't know anymore. Anyway,
see, that's a child's fucking conception of a foreign policy.
No, I agree.
Quite literally is.
It's very.
You know what? I'll go one step further. That's Dave Smith's fucking conception of foreign policy.
I was literally about to say that's the Dave Smith conception of foreign policy. Like, we don't ever need any military act. He literally thinks all war is murder. If you ever go to war for any reason, ever in any context, and a civilian dies, you have committed a murder. Like, he literally is a man-child. He literally is a childish human being who thinks he's intelligent. No, and the more I listen to Dave Smith, the more I realize that he's not a smart man. He has a child's he has a child's conception of foreign policy. He has a child's conception of war. He has a child's conception of morals. He has a child's conception. I was about
to say, like, he has a child's conception of morality. Like that's his main problem. Yeah.
Like, his whole thing was all like, listen, if you blow up a building to kill one guy, you murdered everybody else in that building. okay, yes, in the scenario that you laid out, in which a guy came into my house and killed my family, so then I go into and he hides in an apartment building, and then I blow up the whole apartment building, killing everyone in it just to get him. In a civil society in which we are both citizens and we are not at war with each other, and something like that happened, yes, I committed murder. The rules of war are different. There's a reason why all these countries agree to these, like, rules of war. There are certain things. Yes, when you go to war, civilians die. Name a conflict in history where civilians were not killed. Name one, just one, where the only people that died were soldiers. That didn't happen ever in history. War
It's
is
never going
different.
to happen either.
Yeah, the morals of war is different than, like, citizens inside of a sovereign country interacting with each other. Me and the guy who broke it, like, I hate his analogy. The guy who breaks into my house, so I blow up the whole apartment building. He's hiding in to get him. That's like, you are comparing apples and oranges situations. You're comparing, like, you know, you're comparing a murder inside of
No,
a
he's
country.
comparing. No, he's comparing apples to a cow. The only reasonable thing that you could link those to being is that they're both articles of food, but they have literally nothing to do with each other otherwise.
No, that's actually brilliant. Yeah, so it's like I used to like Dave Smith. Like, I never loved him, but, like, I didn't hate him. But, like, just the more I listened to him, and, like, I don't even hate him. I just think he's pathetic. Like, I just think he's a joke. Like, he's just a fucking goofball who doesn't know shit from Shinola. Like, he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. And by the way, we are, like, almost 2 months removed, and he is still mauling about Douglas Murray. He will not shut the fuck up about it. Douglas Murray hasn't mentioned
Really?
him. Yes, Douglas Murray hasn't mentioned him once since that episode
Well,
of Joe Rogan.
based on the comments under that quote unquote debate, most of the audience seems to think that Dave Smith won. But then again,
Because the
like
whole
look, not to diminish
have you
Joe Rogan or his audience, right? But they're Joe Rogan's audience.
and it wasn't
Like,
really like it wasn't really a debate. Like, it wasn't supposed to be a debate. It was supposed to be they were just supposed to hash some things out. And like it's and again, this was like a guy who has been studying radical Islam and war, who actually
and
is
to be
a
fair, Douglas Murray did not conduct himself well in that debate, quote unquote debate either. Like to
I
be
didn't watch
fair,
to be fair, I didn't even watch the whole thing. But, like,
the problem with it was that I think the problem with it was that it was Dave Smith that he was talking to, because Dave Smith kept trying to. It is literally don't debate an idiot because he'll drag you down to his level and beat you with experience. That's what happened. Like the whole thing was framed in such a way that Douglas could only really say, like, "Oh, dude, like,
well,
yeah,
like,
please listen to the people who are actually on the ground and to the people who are actually studying this shit." And Dave was just like, "No, but and then because of the quote unquote expert fatigue that we're going through right now, Douglas like came off second best. Like he
no,
did,
fair. Like, well, the thing is that
but
no, and I mean that's fair, but, like, and, like, he did come off smug, but I mean that's kind of his shtick. He's always been smug. That's been kind of his.
he is a gay British man, so there's that.
Yeah, I
But
mean the Douglas Murray character has always been smug. That's always been his thing. It's just like everybody liked Douglas Murray and him being a smug shitheel whenever he's talking to leftists, but as soon as he talks about Israel to a guy like Dave Smith, instantly everybody's all like, "Oh, I hate this." Like, but the whole thing about have you been there? Like, it's like, okay, you don't have to physically go to a place to have an opinion on it. I agree. You don't. Ultimately, I agree with that. But when you are a third party observer, like, whose opinion are you going, and, like, you can apply this to anything. I'm not even going to say Israel Palestine. You can apply this to mechanics. Like, whose opinion is going to matter to you more when you need your car worked on? The guy who's never touched a car in his life but read a bunch of books on it, or the dude you know who doesn't really read books on the thing but has been working on cars since he
disassembles
was.
engines on the fucking regular.
Yeah, like, who are you
Yeah.
actually going to listen to here? Like, you're going to listen to the dude who actually does the work. And it's just like, yes, Doug Murray has been to war zones. He is a war journalist. Like, that's what
Well,
he does.
this is the same with the whole BLM fucking situation, right? Like just scale it down a little. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like unless you're actually in the shoes of the cop, then like, can you really say?
No.
Like I know there's been like ridiculous fucking examples, like the Acorn assault fucking right, or like there's been a ton of cases like that, like with the female cop fucking shooting the guy because
Yeah, she thought she pulled her
reasons.
taser and accidentally pulled out her gun and shot him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that shit is ridiculous. But then, well, like in most cases, it's like, okay, well, like the fact that like fucking Kenosha, the whole Kenosha fucking thing was started because of whatever the fuck his name is. I don't even remember, but he had a fucking knife and he was about to pull it on the cops. And then, the Kyle Rittenhouse situation as that spun off
Or hell,
as a result of that.
Those two black girls fighting whenever one was about to stab the other and the cop pulled out the gun and shot her mid-stab.
Yeah, that shit was like expert marksmanship. Like the other black girl was like right behind her, right?
Yeah, and didn't get hit, yeah.
Yep.
And that
And
body
he
cam
still
footage
got
is
fucking
crazy.
vilified for it.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, no, it's
And then
nuts.
like literally everyone else's reaction was fucking, Ken Watanabe from Godzilla.
Let them fight.
Let them fight.
The stupid thing was people say, why didn't he just shoot the knife out of her hand? Like, tell me you've never fired a gun without telling me you've never fired a gun. Like, fuck off. Like, do you know the level of expert marksman you have to be in order to do something like that? And even most expert marksmen couldn't pull that off.
No. Do you need like the fact that he shot her like that? Because I don't know how far off he was. Like a few dozen feet, maybe.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he wasn't that far, but yeah, he was like probably 10.
It was a
12 feet
reasonable
away.
shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
with
black
a pistol and
the chick
the
was
fact that he
fat as shit, so it was like shooting the broadside of a barn.
yeah, but like, why couldn't you shoot the knife out of her head? Like, fuck off, dude. Like, are you serious, man?
It's like, okay, this is what I want you to do if you think you shoot the knife
Like,
out of your hand.
part of the reason, part of the reason why everyone thought it was so fucking comical and also like literally just providence, right? That Donald Trump didn't fucking die in July last year.
Yeah.
In Pennsylvania was because of how comically close that cunt got to him.
Oh yeah, within 100 yards.
That is fucking for all fucking intents and purposes. That is point fucking blank, right? Like, especially with a gun like that.
You wouldn't have missed that shot,
dude. Sorry,
I said you wouldn't have missed that shot.
Yeah. But
I'm just saying, and I know tons of people who wouldn't have missed that shot.
Yeah. Yeah, that for all intents and purposes, that is point fucking blank range, dude.
With that rifle,
holy shit,
with that rifle, with that scope from that range, yeah, I know tons of people who would have never missed that shot. And Trump's not a small man, and he was standing still. Like the problem is, dude was going for a headshot. He should have went center body mass. Much easier to hit. But headshots look cool, dog. 360 no scope. No, but if you think that shooting the knife out of the hand, this is what I want you to do. Find a knife, find the video and get a knife that's comparable in size to that girl's knife. Okay? Take it and lay it down on like a piece of paper and then trace around it, like with a marker or a pen or something like that. And then take that and put it on like a post, on like a hay bale or something like that, and walk 12 feet away from it and then try to hit it. And let's go ahead and say...
Mind you, that shit is still, too.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and say that you can hit it. Cool. While it's standing still. Now try to do it while it's moving. Good fucking luck, dog.
Yeah, attach it to a string, and then swing it around. Right? Like...
Yeah, like good luck. But anyway, 3. It makes President Trump's border security permanent. It funds President Trump's border wall. As a result, 701 miles of primary wall, 900 miles of river barriers, 629 miles of secondary barriers, and 141 miles of vehicle and pedestrian barriers will be constructed.
You know what they should just invest all this shit in?
What?
Capture like 16 breeding pairs of sharks.
Yeah.
and just fucking fucking release it into the Rio Grande.
Yeah. Do it with bull sharks because they can survive in fresh water.
Tiger sharks. Because they would eat literally anything. Like they're fucking the garbage man of the sea, you know?
And you know what I think we should probably do? I think we should build. If the wall didn't work, we should just go ahead and build the America Canal. Just basically a giant moat across the southern border that goes from the Gulf of America to the Gulf of California. Just basically make a giant moat, fill it with sharks.
No. That's not the America Canal. The Rio Grande should just be okay. The America Canal should be up north.
Yeah, probably. We do
Because
need a wall.
fuck them Canadians.
We do need a wall up north. Like people are sleeping on the northern border. It boosts border patrol and ICE agents to the front lines. It will empower border officers or border officials with adequate resources to finally carry out their core mission by funding at least 1 million annual removals and hiring 10,000 new ICE personnel, 5,000 new customs officers, and 3,000 new border patrol agents. I mean, considering the sheer number of illegals that we have right now, that's probably a good number. It finally modernizes air traffic control. It fulfills President Trump's plan to completely overhaul the system that keeps Americans flying safely and efficiently.
You know what? On this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
You remember that crash where the military copter collided with like a civilian plane?
Yeah.
Apparently, the pilot of that helicopter was a fucking woman.
Yeah. That's what I heard.
And she ignored warnings from air traffic control and her co-pilot, who was a far more experienced helicopter pilot as well.
Oh God, man, women shouldn't be in the military.
Like seriously, this is like one of those things where like I can only imagine it's like, oh, stop mansplaining to me, and then fucking boom.
Like yeah, fucking
hell.
Women shouldn't be in the military. I've officially joined the.
I'm so glad you have come around to my position, brother.
Just no, like not even like no snipers, like not even medics. Nope. Like fuck off. Sorry. Like I understand that Tulsi was good as a combat medic, but yeah, I guarantee there was a male combat medic who probably could have done what she did, but also more and better. Like. I understand there are exceptional women out there, but no more of this. Where's OBS? How are we doing? Good. Green bars. The One Big Beautiful Bill restores sanity to government. It prohibits Medicaid funding for gender transition procedures for minors. So, no more transing the kids on the American taxpayer bill.
That is even a fucking like a win just shows just how fucking retarded we got in just under 4 years, man. Holy shit.
Well, yeah, I mean, Biden was kind of the culmination of a lot of leftist plans, which that's pathetic when you think about it. And that
including up to and including the point of he was literally a fucking puppet president.
Yeah, and he had cancer and he was dementia and it was just bad.
The fact that he probably had prostate cancer even while he was running in 2020.
Yeah, that's entirely possible.
That's fucked, man.
Yep, and then the 2022 gaffe where he admitted he had cancer and everybody was all like, it's just a gaffe, he doesn't have cancer. Yeah, he did. It's actually, and I talked about this in my solo video on the topic, is it actually fits with the timeline. In order to be at stage 9 prostate cancer with bone metastasization, you usually have to live with prostate cancer for about 4 to 5 years, which the timeline would line up perfectly. That he finds out in 2019 he has prostate cancer, is running with it in 2020. By 2022, he's at stage whatever. Accidentally makes the gaffe, says he has cancer. By the time you get to 2025, it's stage 9 or whatever it's called, and it's metastasized.
No, there's no such thing as stage 9. It's just
No, but it's
only up to stage 4.
No.
It's only up to stage 4, but it's gotten up to the point where it's metastasized into the bones.
But for prostate cancer, there's a separate thing. It's not stages. I can't remember the word for it, but they have classification.
Okay.
Sure, it's not. I can't remember the word for it, but it's like it goes from 5 to 9. It's not stages. It's something. But
Okay.
so
Yeah,
stage. You are
yeah,
right. Stage is the wrong word, but when you get to
yeah.
like
There's a word for it.
when you get to
Yeah.
like category 9, fucking prostate cancer, where it metastasizes to the bones, you've probably lived with it for 4 to 5 years, which would be consistent. That he had it his whole presidency. Everybody knew it, but they lied about it. This is what Trump said. Republicans must unite
The
behind the
fucking clear
one.
goal of Jake Tapper to fucking write a book about it
Yeah, even
and
though he
just
was.
bullshit that he didn't fucking. He was like, one of the top cheerleaders for hiding this shit.
Yeah,
Fucking cunt.
no, Jake Tapper could suck a dick. Um, but Republicans must unite behind the one big, beautiful bill. Not only, I love how he's so self-aware that he calls his landmark legislation, he calls it something that he would say off the cuff on stage. It's a big, beautiful bill. Um, Not only does it cut taxes for all Americans, but it will kick millions of illegal aliens off Medicaid to protect it for those who are the ones that really need it. The country will suffer greatly without this legislation. With their taxes going up 65%, it will be blamed on the Democrats, but that doesn't help our voters. We don't need grandstanders in the Republican Party. Stop talking and get it done. It is time to fix the mess that Biden and the Democrats gave us. Thank you for your attention to this matter. It's such a weird way for him to end a tweet or a truth or whatever the fuck you call it on Truth Social. Thank you for your attention to this matter. You could tell he writes these himself. He's sitting there with his phone, just all like, "This is gonna be great, best tweet ever."
Fucking, I don't know. There's a reason why he's called the content president, right?
Oh, he's so good. He's so good. So this was a story.
I know Trump. Every 4 years, we're gonna thaw him from the freezer.
I'm running for a third term. Which obviously he's not going to run for a third term. But he's saying it to trigger people, and it's so fucking funny. Oh, look at all the early polling data that I've seen says that no, 2028 is the year of Vance. Like it's like provided again, and I've said this I think every time we've brought this up, but provided he doesn't do anything within the next few years to fuck himself over, JD Vance is gonna be the nominee for the Republicans in 2028. And if the Democrats really do decide AOC is the guy for the guy shit, that AOC is the one for the job.
Yeah, but going by their standards, like you're right to say guy,
Yeah.
because you're never sure.
But yeah, but no, if AOC really is the candidate for the Democrats, then we may as well just like we win. God, the debates between Vance and AOC will be fucking beautiful. Him doing the whole
Please, for the love of God,
the Vance glance.
please.
Every time she says
Please.
every time she says something stupid, he looks right at the camera. It's gonna be so great, just like he did to Tim Walz, but worse. It'd be worse than what he did to Tim Walz.
His face is just gonna be permanently fucking emblazoned on that camera with how much he's gonna have to do it. Fucking hell.
I know, it's gonna be great. So I got a couple stories that I intended to cover last week. They were the only two holdovers. Actually, to be fair, one of these two I intended to cover in a solo video that I was going to do last Friday, but my internet was down, so I just didn't even bother recording the video. I could have recorded the video and then uploaded it, like, whatever. But I just didn't feel... Or no, I couldn't record the video because the internet was down, so I couldn't pull up the page in the browser. But anyway, one of them was actually this Los Angeles Times article that I thought was interesting. Trump wants to attack drug cartels. How can Mexico respond if he does? Trump has long contemplated targeting Mexican narcotics cartels, suggesting during his first term that missiles could be launched on drug labs. Mexican president has drawn a red line that she says cannot be crossed. U.S. troops in Mexico. We won't put any troops in Mexico, just drone strikes. If Trump unilaterally launched God, the editing, Jesus Christ. Modern editing is dog shit. If Trump unilaterally launched attacks on cartels on Mexican soil, could Sheinbaum sever relations with the U.S.? Yeah, probably. But no, seriously, people, this isn't an LA Times thing. This is a goddamn everybody problem. You guys have got to get your editing up because, like, you guys, like, simple mistakes that should have been obvious. This is a bullet point at the beginning of the article in bigger font in bold, and you didn't see that this sentence right here is completely fucked. Shut up. Like, fuck off. Anyway. Mexico City. She has won acclaim for facing down tariff threats, shunning political bluster, and skirting White House provocations. Obviously, because this is LA Times, they're going to glaze Sheinbaum pretty hard. While winning admiration from President Trump. A cool head has been her motto. But Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum may soon face her most challenging test, and her response could define bilateral relations for years. At issue, Trump's stated determination to deploy U.S. military forces against Mexican drug cartels, 6 of which his administration has designated as foreign terrorist organizations. Trump has vowed to wage war on cartels, which he said exercise total control in Mexico and pose a grave threat to U.S. national security. The president of Mexico is a lovely woman, but she is...
Here we go again. Fucking hell.
Look at this. The president of Mexico is a lovely woman, but she is so afraid of the cartels that she can't even think straight. Now, either he stuttered and said "is" twice, and they're quoting it exactly as he said it, or you people fucked up. The editing in this article is dog shit. In response to U.S. pressure, Mexico has cracked down on drug trafficking and illegal immigration, dispatching thousands of troops to its northern frontier and even shipping 29 accused cartel capos, Jesus Christ, I'm terrible, to the United States, skirting Mexican due process guarantees. The Sheinbaum administration has also agreed to expand U.S. surveillance flights, reportedly including CIA drone forays over Mexican territory. What good is allowing the CIA to gather intel on the cartels if you're not going to let us use it for anything? Like, well, you can use it against them whenever they cross, the southern border and they're in the United States. Yes, but this is good for both countries if you just let us kill them. It's like, you don't have to risk any of your army's troops. We are not even going to risk any of our troops. We're going to drone strike these people. Like, I genuinely don't understand why she's so protective of the cartels. The only things I come up with is that
she's compromised.
Is that she's compromised. They're threatening her, and she believes that they can pull it off, or she's on the take. Still, Sheinbaum rejected Trump's offer, delivered in a testy telephone call last month to send the U.S. Army to Mexico. Boots on the ground, she said. She told her counterpart, Jesus Christ. Boots on the ground, she said, she told her counterpart, is a red line that Mexico would never accept, adding sovereignty is not sold. Okay, we're not attacking your sovereignty. We're not coming after you guys. It's like we're going to go 200 miles off of our southern border and deal with a problem that you should be dealing with on your own. We're literally offering to do the work for you. Her unequivocal response, which reflected Mexico's enduring memories of...
The thing is, apart from her being completely compromised, in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
This also just looks bad. I think that's part of the reason why she doesn't want the US to come in. Because what this would signal, right, is that Mexico is a completely failed state.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. That's not something you want to signal to the world, that we can't even deal with our own criminals.
But if it's true, right?
Well, and I mean, I agree that it is true, but also at the same time, there's really no shame in it when you consider that's essentially what NATO does. A bunch of European countries said, we'll keep small armies here. Fine, we'll have our own small militaries, but by and large, whenever shit breaks bad, we're going to let America handle it. Oh, but anyway, her unequivocal response, which reflected Mexico's enduring memories of U.S. invasions, land grabs, and bullying. Oh, fuck off. We haven't been to war with Mexico in, almost 200 years. Eat shit. was widely praised in Mexico, where the nationalist card can always be dealt in response to perceived gringo aggression. We are all with the president and ready to defend Mexico, said Alfredo Garcia, 56, who runs a cafeteria in Mexico City. Trump and the United States are very powerful, but we cannot let this happen. Like, Jesus, again, we're not trying to occupy. You're not Afghanistan. You're not Iraq. We're not going to, completely
Okay,
restructure
so
your
this Alfredo
government.
Garcia cut then. Okay, no immigration allowed from Mexico to the United States. Zero. Not
Yeah.
even legal immigration. They can all go get fucked.
I mean, yeah, fair enough. Like,
Like seriously, you can all go get fucked. We are with the president to defend Mexico. Okay, well, defend Mexico against your own fucking people, then you fucking retard.
yeah, no, seriously.
Puto pendejo.
Why
Fucking
don't,
piece of shit.
like, that's the thing that, like, kind of, like, now the problem that the Mexican army has with the cartels is that the cartels have a lot of the same gear. And, because,
Or better.
well, and a lot of the guys in the cartels now were trained in the Mexican army and then, got discharged and went and joined the cartels, or went AWOL and joined the cartels. Or the cartels had them, said, hey, go join the army and then come back. Like, because they've lost, like, battles, whole full-scale fucking urban battles against the cartels. The cartels has beaten the Mexican army. So they're fucking...
I know.
So
that's what I mean.
They're embarrassed.
So, like, this is what I mean by, like, this is fucking... It's a failed state. This is literally the same as fucking Lebanon in the 1980s. When your standing army is the second most powerful fucking armed force in the country, you are not a country. You're a failed state.
Syria under Assad, whenever, ISIS was taking over large swaths of the country, and it seemed like the actual Assad's official military couldn't handle them on his own. Like, so America had to come in.
They had to call Russia for help.
Yeah, and then America had to come in and destroy ISIS. Like, it's like fucking, we basically poked, like, under the Obama administration, basically poked and prodded at ISIS for years, and Trump gets in and just tells Americans, like, look, I didn't want to do this, but just whatever it takes, deal with it. And ISIS was destroyed in a few weeks? Like, proving what, if you really let the American military off the leash, we can destroy almost anything. But Sheinbaum seems to have a little wiggle room for future negotiations on the explosive issue. Trump appears exasperated. Quote, the president of Mexico is a lovely woman, but she is so afraid of the cartels that she can't even think straight. The president... Oh, see, this is the... So, yeah, no, the quote fucked up. Get your editing together, you cunts. An adherent to kinetic action, Trump has already amped up troop numbers along the southwestern border. The U.S. President seems undeterred by expert opinions that strikes would have little effect on Mexico's highly dispersed drug trafficking gangs and their networks of primitive kitchen sink laboratories. Well, the goal really is to cut the head off the snake. You're killing the leaders of the cartels, which, sure, power vacuums, leaders would pop up, then you just kill them too. Like, you're never going to be able to stop illegal drug manufacturing full stop. You're never going to be able to prevent that permanently. But you can. The cartels do have power bases. They do have areas they control. They have headquarters. They have compounds where their leaders live. Like, there are targets you can take. This idea that, like, oh, there's no point in going to war with the cartels because the cartels will never die. Like, you could say that about any enemy, really, Trump has long...
Obama said that about ISIS.
Well, yeah, sure, but ISIS was getting it from three directions. They were getting it from the Syrian military, they were getting it from the Russian military, and they were getting it from the U.S. military. So, like, they were getting it from, they literally got ground into the dirt. But, I mean, the idea that, like, you could kill... Let's say you killed, Sinaloa. You killed, like, the leadership of the Sinaloa cartel, and you killed the leadership of the Sonora cartel, right? Are there still going to be, like, the smaller players in those things? They won't necessarily coalesce into one big powerful cartel again. They'll probably just fracture. The thing about power vacuums is it causes, like, it's not just one dude just rises up and says, I'm the leader now, and everybody falls in line. Power vacuums usually lead to a great deal of infighting, which means more cartel members die and they kill themselves. So, you know, in that scenario, everybody wins. And, you know, this isn't a proper military apparatus where it's like, oh shit, like they killed, you know, Hitler, so now Rommel has to take over as chancellor, which that ended up not happening because whatever, but you get my point, right? That's a structured military that had an entire country wrapped around it, whereas the cartels are all criminal gangs, and it's not the same thing. It's not just some dude can just like slot into the leadership position. There's going to be infighting. There's going to be, you know, no, I want it, no, I want it, no, I want it, and then they're going to have 3 or 4-way conflicts between smaller cliques and cells inside of the cartels. They're just going to end up going to war with each other. Now, by the time
the power vacuum is just going to lead to a power struggle.
Yeah, and by the time the dust settles, will you have a new leader? Yeah, sure, but the cartel will be significantly
but it's going to be a significantly weaker version of the cartel.
Yeah. Trump has long contemplated launching the military against Mexican cartels. According to one of his former defense secretaries, Mike Esper, Trump mused in 2020 about firing missiles at drug labs. I support that. In his memoir, A Sacred Oath, Esper wrote that the president said the U.S. could simply deny responsibility for any attack. We do it all the time. It's not a good thing that we do, but, you know, we do it. I mean, for fuck's sake, we blew up Nord Stream 2? What, you know what I'm talking about? The oil pipeline?
Yeah, the pipeline, yep, in Europe to Russia.
Yep, we blew it up. And, well, officially there's no proof that we blew it up, but I'm one of the people who believes we totally blew it up. We had SEALs go down there and blow it the fuck up. So, yeah, we blew it up, and we're denying it to this day. For years, Mexican police, sometimes with U.S. assistance, have been destroying drug labs and taking out kingpins to no apparent effect on cross-border smuggling. I mean, that's because it's mostly poke and prod, and it's not full-scale war. If we actually were to treat cartels like terrorists, it'd be a very, very different kind of thing. We're not just poking and prodding.
Yeah, the U.S. military should be fucking unleashed to the same effectiveness as the IDF in Operation Wrath of God.
Yeah, and and again, it's a lot of these guys, they weren't dying. A lot of them are just going to Mexican or American prison, and they're still running the cartels from prison. So, like, that's the reason why nothing changes, because if you leave them alive and you leave all of their lieutenants alive and you're mostly just, like I said, poking and prodding at them, you're not really there. It's like it said in the article, they're widely spread, and they rely heavily on the cell structure. You know, you've got like Sinaloa's got like cells here and a cell here and a cell here and a cell here and a cell here, and they all kick up to the boss. So the boss gets taken out, all these cells, you know, he goes to prison. He's still alive. He can still tell each cell what to do, and they're still going to listen to him. Because he still has all of his lieutenants who are free, and if they don't do what he says, even though he's in prison, he puts the word out, and people start dropping like flies. I'm sorry, but you don't just arrest the leader and put him in prison. You kill him. You kill his lieutenants. You know, you find the drug labs. You blow them up. Like, you bomb the tunnel systems that they have dug under the border. Like, you know, you send SEALs down there, plant explosives, you know, a mile into the tunnel, not just at the entrance, but you go deep into the tunnel, and you plant C4 all the way through it, back out to the entrance, and you blow the shit out of that place. You change the topographical map along the border, you blow up so many fucking tunnels. Like, it can't just be poke and prod. You've really got to treat this like a war, because that's what it is.
As I said, Wrath of God.
And then drone
strikes. You know what I'm
strikes
talking about when I say that, right?
I know I've heard. I don't know the full details of the operation, but I know what you're talking about more or less. It was a big operation by the
Munich.
Israelis. Well,
it's post Munich when they hunted the terrorists responsible for the Munich massacre.
Oh, okay, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
now.
It was a 30 fucking year war of 30-year operation basically.
Yep. Was that the same operation that was killing Germans in South America?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought. See, okay, yeah, I did know what you were talking about. They were finding where
killing Germans, South America, Arabs in Paris, Arabs in Italy, Arabs in Cyprus, Arabs in Lebanon.
And they did it before pager bombs. God, I love the pager bombs. I think the pager bombs are so dope. They fuck the
Dude, the
Israelis.
pager bomb thing was
It's
fucking
like
insane. Holy shit.
The Israelis, probably with American support, called up Taiwan and said, "Hey, Taiwan, we need you to send us a bunch of these pagers." It's like, we know that you're selling pagers to in the Middle East, which is fine. You're allowed to do business with who you want to do business with, but we need you to send them our way first. Rig them up. Then they sent them back. I don't know if this is exactly what happened, but it sent them back to Taiwan. Taiwan sends them out to the various people, and then they all start blowing the fuck up one day. It's so beautiful.
They're pioneering gender reassignment surgery in the Middle East.
Blowing the dicks off terrorists. And what's really funny is that despite, you hear a lot of people say that, it was a terrorist attack. I'm like, no, it was a military operation, and the civilian casualties from the pager bombs was, minuscule. The vast majority of people, people who were too close to them when the pager bombs went off got injured, sure, but the vast majority of the people that died were terrorists and Hamas and Hezbollah members and people who, from what I understand, it was
because the only people who were still using those fucking pagers were Hezbollah operatives.
Yeah, it worked. It was good.
It was the most fucking surgical way you can conduct a surgical strike.
Gotta imagine that you're at a fucking funeral for one of your Hezbollah guys, one of your Hezbollah commanders, and your pager starts going off. It's like, oh shit! So you go to check it, and then, which actually happened, by the way. A pager went off at a fucking funeral. And that's better than just drone striking the entire funeral, killing everybody there. Which, Obama did more than a few times. It's just like, okay, we have one target. What's he doing? He's at a funeral with a bunch of non-combatants, and there's women and children there too. Blow it up. Sir, blow it up. No, you're the commander. And then they hit the button. Trump has long contemplated... Oh, I already read that part. Quote, it's all for show. Mike Vigil, former head of international operations at the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, said of Trump's talk of the U.S. strikes on the cartels. Nonetheless, Sheinbaum's rejection of Trump's troop proposal seemed to some observers here an uncharacteristically nuance-free reaction from a leader who, despite her leftist activist pedigree, has earned a reputation as a pragmatic interlocutor with the mercurial U.S. president. Quote, the response of the president was correct but incomplete, said Eduardo Guerrero, a Mexican security analyst who suggested that Sheinbaum could have appeased Trump with proposals for enhanced cooperation, short of U.S. troops on Mexican soil. Mexico can use help, he added, noting a potential need for U.S. training, technological aid, and armaments. The power that organized crime has amassed is such that the Mexican state clearly cannot contain the threat. At least somebody in Mexico is honest.
I know, right?
It's like, no, bro, we kind of need their help. We should probably consider, how about instead of you putting troops on the border, how about you give us, an Israeli-style arms deal? Give us credit, that we can turn around and then buy a shitload of American weapons with, and then send a few operators, which, by the way, we've already kind of done this. We didn't give them the full-on, Israeli treatment where they got, all of these, basically credit lines to buy up a shitload of American weapons. We're not selling them fucking F-35s and shit. But, like we did the Israelis, we didn't give them, well, it's murky. Israel claim, I was about to say, we didn't give them an Iron Dome. We didn't give the Israelis an Iron Dome. They built it themselves. They built it based on an American design, but the Israelis claim Israelis claim no, it was our design. It's shut up. No, it was yes, you guys built it. You field tested it. You proved that it works. It's yours. The Iron Dome is your achievement. But don't sit here and pretend like you came up with the shit on your own, because you didn't. And the Golden Dome is going to make the Iron Dome.
Galil is an Israeli design.
Yeah, no, it's a Russian design. It was made by a Russian Jew.
The Galil?
Yeah, his name was Bolesnikov or something like that.
It's literally a fucking. It's basically the Jewish AK.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. It's a Russian design, and that the Israel, the guy who designed it was a Russian Jew.
Yeah, he basically took the good parts of the AK.
Yeah. They wanted an
And
AK that
then-
could fire 5.56 because at the time AKs didn't fire 5.56 because they were getting NATO
Yeah.
rounds for free, and NATO rounds are 5.56. So
Yep.
he designed the Galil as an AK that fired 5.56, and he made a couple design changes. Then I just found out about this recently, but like his name was like Baleshnikov or something like that. That's not exactly. It's very similar to Kalashnikov. It started
Yep.
with a B, and it's just hilarious that a Russian Jew was basically all like, "Listen, we already know how to make perfect rifle. We just make it to fire smaller bullet." It fire.
This
Listen,
one
watch.
more round.
It's like what?
This one more round. Mean more. Same magazine, more bullet. It's very good. Very good.
Watch, listen. See this Russian Kalashnikov. All right, watch what I do. I pull back slide. I pour in sand. Look all the sand I pour in the rifle. Now watch. I push in the magazine. I pull the slide back. And still fire.
Still fire.
Now watch. I take same Kalashnikov. Thunk. I throw it in water. Now we will let it sit there for hours. We will come back. It's still fire. They come back 3 hours later. Pulls it out of the water. This perfect rifle. It's like, are you sure you're Jewish? Yes.
Yes.
I am
Duh.
Russian. Duh. I am Russian Jew. My father was killed in pogrom. Like he got called ruthless cosmopolitan. I assure you, I Jewish. Where was I? The contentious Trump Scheinbaum exchange fan fears that Mexicans would wake up one day to a once unimaginable scenario: news of U.S. strikes, be they aerial assaults or ground incursions, or some combination of attacks on cartel targets. I'm telling you, this is what we need. We need a Mexican Trump. We need El Donaldo Trumpo to win, because Mexican presidents only serve for one term. To just come in there to basically just be like, we're going to make Mexico great again. Me and President Vance. And then it's a joint, it's like, it's not just American troops, it's a joint American-Mexican assault that they can hit the cartel compounds from two directions, north and south, and just pincer them. That way, it's like, look, we did it together. The Mexican army was involved every step of the way. We coordinated. We shared intelligence. We sold them weapons. This isn't like Iraq where we're literally going to
ally shit.
Yeah, well, it's again, this is not like Iraq where we're basically going to do all the work ourselves while the Iraqi army that we trained just kind of plays on the monkey bars and occasionally shoots militias. We're like, no, we can do a full 50-50 joint operation here. Everybody wins. America wins. Mexico wins. Everybody wins. The prospect hangs like a sword of Damocles over Mexico, wrote columnist Denise Marker, whatever.
Where?
Maer. So it's Mayer.
It's German. Merker,
Yeah.
maybe.
Anyway, in Mexico's Milleno news outlet, or Millenio news outlet.
Millennial.
Yeah.
Millennial. Yeah.
It's a fact that President Scheinbaum has navigated these dark and terrible waters with enormous grace, the columnist wrote. Still, she added, Mexicans must live with the worry that one of these days Trump resorts directly to action. Whether he does it or doesn't do it doesn't depend on us. It may simply reflect his political need at a given moment. Well, look, listen, I don't think we're going to do this anytime soon unless we have another massacre like what happened to the Mormon family when they were driving down the highway. They were going down to that Mormon Mexican compound on vacation, and they fucking got, like it was like a huge Mormon family, like 10 people, children, and they just got brutally massacred. All of them Americans. Like, Mormonism is really popular in Mexico. I didn't know that until that happened, by the way. I didn't know that. Like, I know there's a lot of I did know there's a lot of Protestant Mexicans. I know it's a primarily Catholic country, the Spanish Empire and all that. But no, there's a lot. And I knew there's a lot of Protestants down there, but I didn't know that Mormonism was a thing in Mexico, and it is. It's a thing. A lot of American Mormons left to go live in Mexico, and they have compounds and shit down there.
Mm.
And then, of course, they take Mexican wives. A lot of the men, they end up, women convert, to Mormonism, and they take them as wives, and they, so they have these half Mexican American children who, are Mormons themselves, and yeah, that's how that goes. This is a long fucking article. Yeah, we'll move on. Like, I think I've pretty much squeezed everything out of this article I need to squeeze out of it. Yeah, see, look, this is the third time I've read this quote. Check this out. The president of Mexico is a lovely woman, but she's so afraid of the cartels that she can't even think straight. The president told reporters aboard Air Force One.
What the fuck?
Or no, that's not
Are
the
they
third
just
time.
like padding their words or
No,
something?
I'm retarded. I scrolled up too high.
Oh, okay.
Oh, here we go. I'll wrap up after these next couple. By all accounts, what if Trump does launch a strike? How might Sheinbaum react? By all accounts, the Mexican president would have few good options. Quote, a covert, unauthorized action by the United States on Mexican territory would create a serious crisis, said Tony Payan, director of the Center for the U.S. and Mexico at Rice University. But it's not like Ms. Sheinbaum has a lot of room to maneuver. Sheinbaum would undoubtedly face intense public pressure to respond in the strongest possible diplomatic terms, but experts seem to view a complete rupture in U.S.-Mexico diplomatic relations as unlikely given Mexico's profound dependence on U.S. capital and markets. Quote, entirely severing diplomatic relations would be extremely costly for Mexico because of its consequences on trade, said Gustavo Flores Masias, a professor of government and public policy at Cornell University. Instead, Flores Masias said Mexico would probably issue a strongly worded formal protest and possibly recall its ambassador from Washington while expelling the U.S. envoy from Mexico City. Mexico might also reduce, at least temporarily, cooperation in crucial bilateral arenas such as immigration and security. So basically nothing. You would basically, if Trump decided to start drone striking cartel compounds, there would be fuck all she would really do about it. She would write some strongly worded letters, some dudes would have to move, and then things would kind of just settle. In addition, Mexico might seek international condemnation via the United Nations. Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time we've been condemned by the UN. We don't really give a shit what they think. Or the organization.
Yeah, the UN is a fucking completely useless fucking.
It's a joke. Yeah, it's a complete joke. But Trump has long expressed disdain for such international bodies and would probably brush off such criticisms. And he would, as he should.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it's where, like, I'm for it. And I've been saying this since the show pretty much began. I think we are at war with the Mexican cartels and we need to start acting like we are.
Mm-hmm.
And if Mexico wants to help us and we do a 50-50 joint operation to clean up crime and, to clean up crime that is affecting both countries, then great. And if they don't want to be involved, what are you going to do about it? Cut off trade? No, you won't. You require it too much. Like, how many American-owned factories, employ, how many tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of Mexican citizens are employed by American companies in Mexico? Like, you know,
yeah, like a lot of these countries talk tough, but like they quite literally do not have an economy without the US.
The only problem I could foresee this causing is they do have the balls to nut up and completely try to sever all economic ties with us and then try to like recouple themselves with China. Yeah, with China, yeah. It's the only like bad scenario, but even then I don't think it's much easier to do business with us than it is with China. We're neighbors, for God's sake.
Like, and the US for the most part doesn't try to screw over people in the same way that the Chinese do.
Yeah, and to say you would have to be, it's and Chinese, like, it's not going to be the same thing because like the Chinese will build factories in Mexico, but like it's not. It won't be to the same degree. It won't be the same. It won't be as lucrative. It won't be as good for the country. I would say that,
especially considering what they do to
Africa.
Africa, yeah. Like, look at that.
I will say this. I was about to say that also China will steal all your intellectual property, but then I remember this Mexico we're talking about.
Mexico. what fucking intellectual property?
Y'all got nothing worth stealing. So anyway, we got some not great news, and this was a story that I intended to cover last week in a solo video. But this is a Chris Rufo kind of like opinion piece. But last week, it came around. Congress failed to kind of solidify, officially put into congressional approval a lot of the cuts that were made by Doge. And now Doge is still in effect, it's still active, but Elon is no longer the head of Doge anymore. Because of his position where he was a special appointee by the president, he was only allowed to serve for a certain amount of time. He's still close with Trump. Him and Trump still work together a lot, but he's no longer in a position where he can tell Doge what to do. Trump would have to go through steps to make him like an official secretary, and it's entirely possible that he wouldn't pass the Senate vote. So, but yeah, this Chris Rufo opinion piece is called "Washington Got the Better of Elon Musk." The tech tycoon's Department of Government Efficiency was prevented from achieving its full reform agenda, which is sad. It seems the postmodern world is a oh, by the way, I ended up deleting it because I wasn't going to make the video, but I took this picture, right? This was going to be the thumbnail, this picture of Musk, and I had a word bubble right here that said, "I tried so hard and got so far," and then in the big meme, in the big meme letters right here at the bottom of the picture, I was going to say, "But in the end, it doesn't even matter." That was going to be the thumbnail. It seems the postmodern world is a conspiracy against great men. Bureaucracy. Shout out to Chris Rufo, by the way. He's if you don't remember who he is, I'm sure you do, but listener, he's the CRT guy. He was the guy who really went hard after CRT.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure it was him that he got into that really viral debate with Joy Reid.
I don't remember. I'm not sure if that was him. No.
No, you don't think it was Chris?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure it was Chris Rufo that got into that.
Yeah, I'm just saying I don't remember. So I don't know. But
it seems that the postmodern world is a conspiracy against great men. Bureaucracy now favors the firm over the founder, and the cultural views and the culture views those who accumulate too much power with suspicion. The 20th century taught us to fear such men rather than admire them. Elon Musk, who has revolutionized payments, automobiles, robotics, rockets, communications, and artificial intelligence, may be the closest thing we have to a great man today. He is the nearest analog to the robber barons of the last century or the space barons of science fiction. Yet even our most accomplished entrepreneur appears no match for the managerial bureaucracy of the American state. Musk will step down from his position leading the Department of Government Efficiency at the end of May. At the outset, the tech tycoon was ebullient, promising that Doge would reduce the budget deficit by $2 trillion, modernize Washington, and curb waste, fraud, and abuse. His marketing plan consisted of memes and social media posts. Indeed, the Doge brand itself was an iconic blend of memes, Bitcoin, and internet humor. 3 months later, however, Musk is chastened. Though Doge succeeded in dismantling USAID, modernizing the federal retirement system, and improving the Treasury Department's payment security, the initiative as a whole has fallen short. Savings, even by Doge's fallible math, will be closer to $100 billion than $2 trillion. Washington is marginally more efficient today than it was before Doge began, but the department failed to overcome the general tendency of governmental inertia. So yeah, the swamp, it was too thick. He had to wade through too much shit. And he got a lot done, but he only had 90 days to do it in. And without him at the head of Doge, what's more? And then with the fact that Doge gets no congressional support. See, and that's one of the reasons why, if Trump tried to appoint him as an official secretary, that's why I don't think he would pass Senate confirmation, because Congress didn't approve anything he did, so I don't think the Senate would either. If the Department of Government Efficiency was made an official department instead of what it is, which is a restructured kind of Obama era office that Obama founded during his period, some kind of internet thing. I can't remember what it is, but it's been restructured and turned into Doge, but it's not an official U.S. department. So it's under the purview of the president. He can just appoint leaders to it, but the leaders can only last for so long. So it would have to be turned into an official department, and then he would have to, which requires congressional approval, then he would have to appoint Elon as the secretary of the Department of Government Efficiency, which again would require congressional support, or Senate support at that point. And I don't think he would get it. Musk's marketing strategy ran into difficulties too. His internet-inflected language was too strange for the average citizen. I don't think it was that bad. I think a lot of people got it. Like, I think internet lingo has become ubiquitous now to the point, because look, I'm 38 years old. You're 33. Our generation, we are the adults now. So I think the internet language is more ubiquitous than Chris Rufo lets on. I think the average citizen gets it more than he thinks they do. And the left, as it always does, countered proposed cuts with sob stories and personal narratives. Of course, crying Mexican children and all that stuff. Or crying foreigners in other countries, crying children in other countries who need US aid or they'll starve to death or whatever. Paired with a coordinated character assassination attempt portraying Musk as a greedy billionaire eager to eliminate essential services and children's cancer research. Which, of course, is just not true. However, how the fuck would I say that? Meretricious? Right here. However,
meretricious, yeah. Meretricious, yeah.
However meretricious these attacks were, they worked. Musk's popularity has declined rapidly, and the terror campaign against Tesla drew blood. The company's stock has slumped in 2025, down around 20%, and the board has determined that Musk return to the helm. So, yeah, I mean, sadly, Elon Musk is not... That's true. Rufo's not saying anything that's not true there. Because he used to have lefties that liked him, now all the lefties hate him. And there isn't enough rightoids to kind of fill every single former lefty fan. And there's a lot of rightoids that don't like him either because they think he's whatever.
Compromised. He's too Jewish, whatever. Like it's just
or
retarded, but
or that he's he was a Democrat until 5 minutes ago. Like so what?
Was Trump.
Yeah, well, yeah, for a little bit, yes, he did join. He briefly, for a few years, joined the Democrat Party. He'd been a Republican most of his life.
Yeah. But the point still stands. Right?
Yeah. But the deeper problem is that Doge.
So was Trump. So was RFK. So was Tulsi.
Yes. Yeah. No. It's exactly. But the deeper problem is that Doge has always been a confused effort. It promised to cut federal budget by roughly a third, deliver technocratic improvements to make government efficient, and eliminate waste, fraud, and abuse. As I warned last year, no viable path existed for Doge to implement these reforms. Further, these promises distracted from what should have been the department's primary purpose, an ideological purge. Ironically, this was the one area where Doge made major progress. In just a few months, the department managed to dismantle one of the most progressive federal agencies, USAID, defund left-wing NGOs, including cutting over $1 billion in grants from the Department of Education, and advance a theory of executive power that enabled the president to slash Washington's DEI bureaucracy. Musk also correctly identified the two keys to the kingdom, human resources and payments. Doge terminated the employment of President Trump's ideological opponents within the federal workforce and halted payments to the most corrupted institutions, setting the precedent for Trump to withhold funds from the Ivy League universities. As I covered in my video yesterday, Kristi Noem and DHS has officially decertified Harvard from taking in foreign exchange students. They're not allowed to bring them in anymore.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's
pretty fucking funny, actually.
Yep. Oh, God, Kristi Noem is just great. I don't care that she killed a dog, still would. At its best, Doge functioned as a, what, the ultimate menage a trois would be? It'd be like Kristi Noem, Lauren Boebert, and Nancy Mace, just all three of them at once. That would be
That's not a menage a trois. A menage a trois is literally just a threesome.
Whatever. You know what I meant.
But what you have is like a foursome.
Fine. We'll take Nancy Mace out of there and just Lauren Boebert and Kristi Noem.
Okay.
Oh, disgusting. At its best, Doge functioned.
Why are you such a degenerate?
Look, I like all three of them, but honestly, knowing that Lauren Boebert likes to get felt up in theaters, it's just like, okay, she's the hottest.
Jesus Christ.
She also has the biggest boobs, which goes a long way with me.
Really?
Yeah, of the three of them, yeah. Of the three of them, Lauren Boebert definitely has the biggest boobs. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well. I don't know about that, and to be honest with you, I don't want to know. Fuck.
Oh, yeah, let's sit here and pretend like you don't think... you and I have had this discussion. You think Kristi Noem is hotter than Lauren Boebert?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I don't really want to know at this point.
Yeah, we should probably stop simping for politicians, no matter how hot they are.
Exactly.
At its best, Doge functioned
Wait,
as a...
Who's that? Who's that hot Latina? Ana Paulina Luna, right? That's her name, eh?
Yeah. She's from Florida.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, and then the Mexican lady from Texas. She ended up not winning the
Yeah.
con.
The congressional seat that she was after.
Yeah, but
still.
the Mexican mommy from Texas. She's hot. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but
Yeah.
at its
Not
best,
neither.
at its best, Doge functioned as a method of targeted de-workification that forced some activist elements in the left into recession. A much-needed program, though not exactly what it was originally promised. Ultimately, Doge succeeded where it could and failed where it could not. Musk's project expanded presidential power but did not fundamentally change the budget, which still required congressional approval. Washington's fiscal crisis is not at its core an efficiency problem, it's a political one. When Doge was first announced, many Republican congressmen cheered Musk on, declaring it's time for Doge, but this was little more than an abdication of responsibility, shifting the burden, and ultimately the blame onto Musk for Congress's ongoing failure to take on the publicly unpopular task of controlling spending. With Musk heading back...
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, I mean, I don't know if you remember this, but like, there was a Milton Friedman was talking about this when he was in like these committees to cut like government spending back in the 70s and 80s, right? And the main problem with a lot of these things is apparently this is how these meetings go usually. We definitely have a problem with government spending. The way that we cut government spending is by spending more on my interests.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally how it works. Yeah.
Like literally every speaker like stands up and then does that. So,
well, look, we can't cut the budget here because that directly affects me. No, we should cut spending across the board, like from everybody. All of you get less money.
Yep. But then that's what the problem is that all of them don't want to get less money.
No, of course not.
Because then that would directly affect their pet projects basically. So
with Musk heading back to his companies, it remains to be seen who, if anyone, will take up the mantle of budget reform in Congress. Ultimately, the most likely outcome is that Republicans will revert to old habits, promising to balance the budget during campaign season and blowing it up as soon as the legislature convenes. The end of Musk's tenure at Doge reminds us that Washington can get the best even of great men. The fight for fiscal restraint is not over, but the illusion that it can be won through efficiency and memes has been dispelled. Our fate lies in the hands of Congress, and that should make Americans pessimistic. I don't disagree.
yeah, but at this point, I agree with the entire thing with the premise though that Musk is trying to push, or at least tried to push.
Yeah,
this is like the best way to get out of the debt problem is to just unleash the American economy. Like we can't cut spending anymore, so like the only way that we can get around it is by growing our way out of debt.
Yeah, that's Vivek has said something similar, that essentially the best way to fight this is to make it so that we're making so much money that the debt doesn't really matter anymore.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, exactly.
That the debt essentially goes away. The problem is that sounds like, and I agree with him, but I can almost see like the devil's advocate position of the other side of going, it's like, yeah, but that kind of relies too heavily on graph go up mentality, and graph go up mentality has been a bit of a problem. No,
but like that's the idea, and like I can see where that's coming from as well. But the idea is that if we grow the economy, right, but not through like the whole globalization project.
Yeah, we don't need infinity Indians to make our country great. Yeah, no,
yeah. That's the thing, is that this is the only way that we can do that, because it's as sad as it is to say, like I just
Hey,
like, there's no real way around the whole there's no real way around the whole like well, this is shit kind of fucking thing,
No, yeah. Hey, we got 9 people watching. Hey, get in the chat and smash the like button. Do it. I'm talking to you specifically. You, individual person who's listening. I'm talking to you. I just need you to take your mouse cursor, hover it over the thumbs up, and just click it. And then say hi in the chat. 13 is not here today, or at least it seems like he's not. Hopefully he pops in before the show's over because we're almost done. So, Dan Bongino and Cash Patel, I don't have the video pulled up for it. I've just got this little Breitbart article. But they recently did a interview where they both said in no uncertain terms that Jeffrey Epstein did, in fact, kill himself. And they don't deny that in any way. And specifically, Bongino said, I've seen the whole file. Now, Dan Bongino, I've seen a lot of clips from his old show of people saying,
Yeah.
hey, 13 is in the chat. What's up?
Oh, nice. Yeah, of people saying what? What exactly?
Oh, I'm sorry. Of people of showing old clips of Dan Bongino on his show where he was saying, something's murky about this Epstein thing. He didn't come right out and say Epstein didn't kill himself, but he was always very, skeptical about the official narrative. And now that he's deputy director of the FBI, his tune has changed. And it's just like, if you want to give guys you like the benefit of the doubt. So it's possible that Bongino did see the evidence that the people haven't seen, and it convinced him that Epstein did hang himself. The problem is the official story doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Right.
So
So show us the money, basically, right?
Yeah,
that's
release the Epstein files, not just the black book. That's good. We want the black book, but also all the files, because we do know, the public knows the following. The public knows that all the cameras on his floor went out whenever he did it, that the guards were asleep, or even though they were on duty, they were not where they were supposed to be. Or
otherwise not present. Yep.
Yeah, they were, and that he hung himself with sheets designed to you can't use it to hang yourself. They're supposed to rip under the weight of a man's body.
Of a grown man, yep.
And somehow these three things, these sheets work, the cameras go out, the guards aren't there. We have questions. Yes, 13, we are tired of blackout redactions. To be fair, though, I was actually pleasantly surprised with how little was redacted in the JFK files that I saw. Now, there was some stuff redacted. Yep. I'm not going to sit here and say that there wasn't, and I didn't look at all of it because there's 50,000 pages. But I saw a lot of JFK files, and there was not a ton of redaction. So I'm hoping that if we do get the Epstein files, they won't be super heavily redacted. The same. And I'm really hoping, I really do want the black book, because the black book is important, because if the government is admitting that, yes, he was a trafficker of underage girls and boys to people in high positions of power, who are these people in high positions of power? I want those
people out of positions of power.
Yeah, who are these people that were trafficked to? Because they committed a crime too, right? They need to be held accountable for what they did.
Mm-hmm.
But during an appearance on FNC Saturday Morning Futures, FBI Director Kash Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino discussed the details surrounding Jeffrey Epstein's death. According to Bongino, Epstein committed suicide. You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide, host Maria Bartiromo said. People don't believe it. Quote, well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion. But as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was, Director Kash Patel said. Bongino added he killed himself. Again, you want me to? I have seen the whole file. He killed himself. So it's possible that now that they are in position, after 50 years, they had enough time to clean the JFK files. I mean, maybe, and I'm not saying that didn't happen, but clean them of what? Everything that you wanted to be in there was in there. Well, I don't know what you personally, 13, wanted to be in the JFK files. But they investigated pretty much everybody that could have possibly had an involvement in it, and the JFK files are pretty consistent across the board. Oswald acted alone, which Liar thinks it was the Secret Service that shot him from behind, which is possible. And obviously the Secret Service wouldn't, the government wouldn't admit if that was the case. But the JFK files are pretty consistent in that Oswald acted alone at the behest of the KGB. Well, they believe at the behest of the KGB because of his time in Russia and the fact that he kept visiting the Russian embassy in Mexico City multiple times, his Russian wife, all these things. Like, I was a mafia guy. That's who I thought it was. I thought that like everybody else, thought that it was a patsy and that JFK was killed by the mafia. Liar thought it was the Secret Service and the CIA.
And I'm considering the the prevalence of how many fucking communists were in the government. Well, are in the government. Like,
considering what I've read in the JFK files and what I've read, I'm more open to the idea that, okay, maybe it was the KGB, maybe that it was Oswald, and maybe the KGB set him to do it.
Yeah, like I'm convinced that Oswald was there, but then there were also other elements in the Secret Service who, covered it up, and they didn't include that in the files.
Yeah, KGB compromised Secret Service agents, which of course they would never admit happened. The Warren Commission would never admit, like, let's go ahead and say that it wasn't like an inside job that the Secret Service and the CIA said, we don't like JFK, so let's kill him. But they also would have a vested interest in never admitting that, like, well, okay, so
that shit happened. Yeah.
Oswald shot him. Oswald, the initial hit from Oswald's rifle, that happened, but then also the Secret Service agents that were behind him that shot him in the back of the head, we come to find out later they were KGB compromised just like Oswald was. They would never admit to that. It makes them look bad. It makes the Secret Service look bad. It makes the CIA look bad. I mean, the JFK files already made the CIA look bad because they basically knew
They basically admitted that he was a lone, that saying, say the words, subject was known to the FBI.
Yeah, exactly. That it made the CIA look really bad because the CIA knew Oswald was a military veteran. They knew that he had KGB contacts. They knew that he made multiple visits to the Russian embassy in Mexico City, and they did nothing. They did nothing to stop him.
Yep.
So it's almost kind of like a Pearl Harbor or 9/11 kind of thing. We had the intelligence. We knew the attacks were coming. We just chose not. We didn't do them, but we chose not to stop them so that we had a pretext to get involved in a conflict that we otherwise wouldn't have been able to sell to the United States.
Yeah.
Because in 2000, if if Bush was all like, "Hey, I want to go finish what my father started," I want to go to Afghanistan.
Gulf War II, basically.
Yeah, I want to finish the Gulf War. I want to go I want to go destroy the Taliban. They would have never agreed to that. But then it's like, we get Israeli intelligence that tells us they're planning this. CIA confirms it, and then they go like, oh, they're going to crash buildings into the World Trade Center. Okay, well then, just. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, we got the intelligence, we will act accordingly. And then they just opt not to do anything, which is what FDR did in Pearl Harbor. We knew the attack was coming, let Pearl Harbor get bombed so that we had an excuse to declare war on Japan, which caused Hitler to declare war on us, which allowed us to then get involved in Europe. So, it's so it's a responsibility thing. It's like, if you could have stopped it and you chose not to, it's kind of your fault. But also, we didn't put a gun against Japan's head and tell them, you fucking attack Pearl Harbor, goddamn you.
Yep.
We just,
I'm still convinced it was the Secret Service agents behind them, because there's no way in hell that Oswald would have been able to make, like, the angle of the penetration is just, the angle of entry is not.
I agree. There's no way that he would have been able to get 3 clean shots on a moving target from that distance with that rifle with no scope. I agree. One, maybe.
No, it's like the one, like, I'm convinced that he shot JFK in the neck, like the one that hit him in the neck and then got the what's his name, the governor, in the leg as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, I'm relatively convinced that was him. But the shot that killed JFK came from him. It was a straight shot, like the way his head fucking exploded like that, and then the autopsy.
Yeah.
There is no other angle of penetration that could have come in apart from directly behind him.
I agree.
On flat ground.
And I'm buttressing that with what I'm saying, that the odds of you add on to that the odds that, again, just like I said with shooting the knife earlier, like the amount, the Oswald was a good shot, but he was not that good of a
He
shot.
was not that good.
He was not.
No,
so
no, he
good
can't bend. Fucking, he can't bend. He can't. Well, what's that movie?
Oh, Wanted.
You know, where he fucking bends. Yeah, where he fucking bends like the trajectory of a bullet. Like that shit is not. Yeah. Like, he's not some fucking mystical, bullet mage or whatever.
Yeah, and that was my whole thing with why for a long time was that like the odds of him getting off 3 shots on a moving target from that distance with that rifle with no scope is fucking insane to me, because the rifle he used was a rifle that you ordered out of a
physically impossible.
Yeah, it was a rifle he ordered out of a fucking catalog, right? It was like a cheapy rifle, and he didn't use a scope. Do I believe that he could have been a good enough shot that he would have been able to hit the president once from that distance with that rifle? Sure, once, not 3 fucking times.
No, even if it hit him 3 times, it wouldn't have been.
Yeah, the angle wouldn't have been right.
The angle would not have been right. No,
but I'm saying just the angle thing aside, the odds of him being able to pull that off, period, would have been like beggared belief. That rifle was a cheap rifle, not particularly known for accuracy. He allegedly did it without a scope. Like, the distance was insane. The target was moving. Like, there are top
slow, yes, but it was still moving.
Yeah,
like
there are top tier snipers who couldn't make that shot alive today. But yeah, no. So we have a long history of when we fuck up. See, that's the thing. It's never attribute. It's like Heinlein's razor. Never attribute to malice what could more easily be attributed to stupidity, right? So, and I don't think we have a long history. We do have a history of doing stuff like this. I don't think America has a long history of being malicious. I think we have a long history of being incompetent sometimes. And whenever we get caught up in our own incompetence, we will go, like, not properly vetting Secret Service agents if we go with your theory, which is likely.
We will go to retard lengths to fucking cover it up.
Yeah,
like Watergate, for example.
Exactly. So it's just like America has been malicious, and I'm not saying we haven't been. We have totally been malicious, but I think it's more often that whenever America does bad things, it's much more likely that we fucked up than that, and that we fucked up, that we were incompetent, not malicious. And I mean, I think Heinlein's razor tends, at least in my opinion, tends to be true more often than not. That's why it's one of those kind of like axioms, kind of like, Occam's razor, So anyway, let's close with some good news and get the fuck out of here. So, 13 says, I didn't mean to derail onto JFK, but I agree with y'all 90%. And that's fair. But I mean, it is germane to the topic we were discussing, which is America and their propensity to cover things up when it makes them look bad. JFK assassination is a great example of that, 13. So you're good, dog. But anyway, so Trump said that Russia and Ukraine are going to begin negotiations toward a ceasefire, finally. And now Trump has made overtures that this is happening before and nothing's come of it, but this was a recent story. This came out on the 19th, and he said, let me see here, let's get that Truth Social post queued up, because I don't want to, I want to read it all. President Donald Trump announced Monday that Ukraine and Russia will begin negotiations toward the ceasefire, and suggested that talks could take place in the Vatican. Ooh, Pope Leo out here playing peacemaker.
Based, actually.
Trump took to Truth Social after 2 hours of conversation with Russian President Vladimir Putin to share that it went very well. It went very well. Just completed my 2-hour call with President Vladimir Putin of Russia. I believe it went very well. Russia and Ukraine will immediately start negotiations toward a ceasefire. The problem is, it's easy to get negotiations between these two countries to start. The problem is they never go anywhere. They've come to the table more than a few times to negotiate a ceasefire, but famously Boris Johnson told Zelensky, it's like, don't accept anything. We got you. Stand and fight. We will back you. And it ruined what would have otherwise been. We could have had a ceasefire in 2022. You know what I mean? The problem is again, you had people like Boris Johnson telling him not to give up an inch, which, like, and as you and I have both said, listen. Crimea and Donbass are gone. You're never getting them back. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, Luhansk, Donbass, that entire region, the entirety of eastern Ukraine is just not. Nope.
It's gone. Just let them have it. It's majority ethnic Russian anyway. The commonly spoken language in the area is Russian. You were already fighting a civil war with these people anyway. Just let them go. I believe it went very well. Russia and Ukraine will immediately start negotiations toward a ceasefire and, more importantly, an end to the war. The conditions for that will be negotiated between the two parties, as it only can be, because they know details of negotiation that nobody else would be aware of. The tone and spirit of the conversation were excellent. If it wasn't, I would say so now rather than later. And I actually believe he would that. If it was a shitty conversation between him and Putin, he would come out and start talking shit about him or something. Because with Trump, kind of, you get what it says on the tin, right? You kind of like, you know what you're going to get, because Trump lies. Sure, he lies all the time. It's like little white lies. But like, generally speaking, if Trump doesn't like somebody, he says it. Like, and he doesn't make bones about it. Now, if later on, like literally a week later, if he's able to come to some kind of like agreement with that person, he'll immediately do a 180 and give them a glowing review. But when Trump's not happy with a person, you generally know it. The tone and the spirit of the conversation were excellent. If it wasn't, I would say so now rather than later. Russia wants to do large-scale trade with the United States when this catastrophic bloodbath is over, and I agree. Yeah, I would like to see us, if we're going to do like petroleum trades with people, I think we should probably be doing it more with Russia than we should be with like Arabs. I tend to think that we probably have more in common with Russians than we probably do with Arabs. You know, they're a predominantly Christian country. They're Europeans, yada, 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 the normal stuff. And they have tons and tons of petroleum that we could trade with. You know, tons of stuff. The 13 says, lots of us have no filter. It's a curse and a benefit. Fair enough, sir. There's a tremendous opportunity for Russia to create massive amounts of jobs and wealth. Its potential is unlimited. Likewise, Ukraine can be a great beneficiary on trade in the process of rebuilding its country. Negotiations between Russia and Ukraine will begin immediately. I have so informed President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine, Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission, President Emmanuel Macron of France, Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni of Italy, Chancellor Friedrich Merz of Germany, and President Alexander Stubb of Finland during a call with me immediately after the call with President Putin. The Vatican, as represented by the Pope, has stated that it would be very interested in hosting the negotiations. Let the process begin. Trump the peacemaker, man. Like, and I mean, that was always one of his campaign promises. He's not going to start wars. He's going to end them. And he's trying. For God's sake, he's trying. And he's actually putting real effort into it. Like, he's making these diplomatic calls. You know, he's talking. Like, you know, he sits there for 2 hours and talks to Putin. You know what I mean? And that's a good thing. You know, people think you should never talk to Vladimir Putin under any circumstances. No, you should talk to him. Absolutely, you should talk to him. I'm not a fan of the Qatari regime, but do I think it's a bad thing that Trump was in Qatar talking to them? No, of course not. It's a good thing. Peace is always preferable to war. Quote, Russia and Ukraine will meet. I already read that part. I already read it. Because I just read the Truth Social statement. Trump said that Russia looks to engage in large-scale trade with the United States once peace is reached. I already read all that shit. After Trump's talk with Putin, he spoke with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, as well as French President Macron. Other European leaders. Trump further stated that the Vatican has expressed interest in housing the discussion between Russia and Ukraine. Pope Leo XIV, who was elected as the first American pope earlier this month, finally an American pope in my lifetime, held his inaugural mass on Sunday, which Zelensky, Vice President J.D. Vance, and Secretary of State Marco Rubio notably attended. Pope Leo held, here's a tweet from Vatican News. Pope Leo XIV held a private audience with U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who attended the inauguration mass of his pontificate on Sunday. I mean, famously, they're both Catholic. So, you know, Trump wasn't there, but, you know, Trump's not Catholic. And he probably thought it was, like, I don't want to say inappropriate because he is the president, but not because that's like a Catholic day for Catholics, and like, you know, a Protestant who's also kind of a-religious. Let's be honest, we're being completely honest about Trump. He talks about God a lot. You know, he probably does believe there's a God, but Trump ain't going to church. Let's be real here. Trump spends his Sundays golfing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't attend that. You know what I mean? I wouldn't attend it, not because I have any particular distaste for the Vatican or Catholics or Pope Leo, even though we criticized him a couple weeks ago. Well, whatever, we were open to criticisms a couple weeks ago, but that's a Catholic thing for Catholics. You know what I'm saying? That's it's the crowning, for lack of a better term, of a new pope. That's kind of like, why the fuck would my Protestant ass, why would I be there? You know what I mean?
Yep.
I have no business being there, in my opinion. Other than to say, maybe you could say that just to show moral support and to bear witness. This is a
as another head of state, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pope Leo the 14th. Also is I know Zelensky's Jewish, but is he Catholic, or why was he there? That's my question. Is he Catholic? I know he's ethnically Zelensky. I know he's ethnically Jewish, but is he Catholic?
I'm not sure. Considering that he's Ukrainian, probably not. There is a Ukrainian Catholic rite, but they're usually all Orthodox.
Yeah, that was the other thing. It's if he I know Zelensky's ethnically Jewish, but if he was Christian, I would have figured he was Orthodox. But the two.
Yeah, this is a question. Actually, I'm not sure.
The Eastern and Western churches are apparently in communion with each other, so I guess it doesn't really matter. I know the Pope is not the leader of the Orthodox Church, but the Orthodox Church is in communion with the Catholic Church now, or something like that. They've mended fences or whatever.
Yeah, for the most part. That's why I'm at Pope Francis' funeral. They left the seat open for the Patriarch of Constantinople.
Yes,
because by canon law, the Patriarch of Constantinople is basically on par with the Bishop of Rome. So
yeah, he's effectively a pope in all but name. But yeah, no. So good news for 13 says there's time for church and 18 holes on Sunday. God made it so. Summertime has 18 plus hours of sunlight. Fair enough, 13. Fair enough, sir. Fair enough. I'm just saying, have you ever seen those tours of the penthouse in Trump Tower where Trump used to live with his family before they moved to Mar-a-Lago?
Nope.
Okay, so there is not a single identifiable Christian image in Trump Tower. It's all Greek gods. Now, that could just be an aesthetic thing. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. You can like the kind of Greek god aesthetic and still be a Christian, but
but it also kind of points to the fact that I don't think Trump has actually been all that religious his entire life until very recently.
No, well, according to Alex Jones, Trump always believed there was a God, but was never particularly religious until he became president. And he saw, what the president sees, and it made him more religious. Or at least that's what Alex Jones has said.
Well, I mean, it's probably doubly more so since Butler.
Yeah.
Right? I'm just scrolling through Facebook, and apparently Charlie Kirk had this posted up. If you want to renew your love of America, spend 3 days in the UK. You will literally kiss the ground when you get back home.
Yeah, I hear. I want to visit the United Kingdom so bad. I mean, it's my ancestral homeland. I feel my desire to go there and visit and see it is. I feel like it's probably the same thing Jews feel about Judea, but it's even if you're not a religious Jew, let's say you're a secular Jew, bagels and latkes and whatever, and I only ever go to temple on Hanukkah, that kind of. But you still want to go see the wall. You know what I mean? Even if you're because it's a cultural thing. It's it's part of your history. I want to go see Hadrian's Wall. I want to go to the Highlands. You know what I'm saying? I want to see Big Ben. I want to see fucking. You know what I'm saying? I want to see the Emerald Isle. I want to see all of it, and it just sucks that it's in such a state. Not happy about that. Charlie Kirk, he's probably correct. It's a fucking shit show over there. It sucks because obviously, if you're gonna go to the UK, if you're gonna go to England, you gotta go to London. But at this point, I genuinely wonder if I were to visit the United Kingdom, I would probably avoid London, and that sucks because I want to see Buckingham Palace. I want to see London Bridge. I want to do all the touristy shit. Not just because like touristy American stuff, but because as a student of history, do you know how much important shit happened to Buckingham Palace?
Well,
Churchill
just
visited
Europe
that
in
fucking
general, really.
yeah. Well, just specifically England. Churchill visited that palace every single week for decades.
Mm.
From the 40s through to the 50s, George VI and Elizabeth, he visited every week. While he was prime minister, what I'm saying. Like Churchill walked those halls. You know what I'm saying? And not just Churchill, but a bunch of other, there's my Americanism coming out, worshiping at the feet of Churchill. But my point is that like, fucking, it's just Buckingham Palace, the Tower of London. I'm genuinely like, if I went there, I'm probably not going to go see those things because I don't want to fucking, because I don't want to, I don't want to get stabbed by some Pakistani guy. I don't want to come walking out of my hotel and accidentally get caught up in the middle of a machete fight between Hindus and Muslims. You know what I'm saying? Like, but anyway, final story of the day. This was like a feel good story, so I figured we would cover it. A courageous puppy fights off a pack of coyotes in a 45-minute battle. The video, there's a link to the video, but a courageous canine battled a pack of rabid coyotes. They did not have rabies, but battled a pack of rabid coyotes that wandered into a suburban Los Angeles neighborhood in a life or death ordeal that lasted 45 minutes. Home security footage from Berea, California showed the 5 ravenous coyotes skulk toward and surround the unsuspecting 1-year-old stray, a Labrador Retriever German Shepherd mix, now named Duke, in the early hours earlier this month. The pack surrounded the floppy-eared and somewhat gangly pup, nipping at his heels, sides, and face, the security video showed with KTLA. He's pretty smart there. He got his back to something so they couldn't surround him anymore. And he was scared too. You can see his tail is completely up against his belly.
Yep. That might be like an evolutionary instinct.
What?
The whole tucking your tail in your belly thing.
Yeah, probably.
This is just me becoming, being like a retard fucking like theorist, right? But a lot of scavengers tend to go for your ass first.
Yeah, I know.
Like that's
also the tail is fairly like weak, for lack of a better term. It's an easy target. It's just kind of dangling there, so you don't want it to be out to be, grabbed. But anyway,
grabbed, yeah.
Look at this fucking retard. Look at his face. Look at his stupid face. Yep, he was a stray, and then of course, animal control got called, and they scooped him up, and now he's in a shelter, a no-kill shelter, and people are already looking to adopt him. But he's a fighter. Look at it. Just look at his fucking. He looks absolutely retarded in the best way. Here he is, living his best life now that he's been safely, like, he even made a friend.
Don't put your fucking feet in the drinking pool, you retard.
Well, that's not a drinking pool. It's a play pool. They're playing.
Yeah, I know, but they're drinking from it.
Well, that's because they're dogs. They're retarded.
Yes, I know. That's what I mean. That's why I'm calling him a retard.
I would adopt this dog if I lived in California.
Yeah, but you don't hate yourself, so.
Or
You
if
don't
I
hate
had.
yourself enough, I mean.
No, I don't. He is a goodest boy. Look at him.
Hmm.
He
Also, if I may just add something to the good, white pills to end. Now, I don't know whether people, find this a white pill, but I have not made it a secret that I absolutely hate hell, otherwise known as Pakistan.
yes.
So when right at the end of the whole, the current version of the conflict, right?
Mm-hmm.
This province of Pakistan called Balochistan, which represents about 50 to 60% of their sea access,
Yeah.
declared independence.
They went from fighting a war with India to fighting a civil war. Or
It's
I mean,
hilarious.
I'm not even sure the current state of the conflict if India and Pakistan are still fighting each other currently. As far as I know there was talk of a ceasefire between the two of them, and then Pakistan immediately broke it.
Mm.
So I don't know, but yeah, no, I mean it's funny, and it's kind of a good thing. It's war's bad, but it's white pilling to know that one of the great Muslim nuclear Muslim powers is kind of
Well,
ineffectual.
basically the only nuclear Muslim power.
Don't isn't there another Muslim state that has nukes?
Nope.
Oh, never mind then.
Which countries have nukes? Which countries have nukes? U.S., France, Britain,
The Israelis,
Russia,
they claim that they don't,
China.
but they totally do.
Yeah, Russia, China, India, Pakistan. That's it.
Oh yeah, fair enough. No, for some reason
Those are the only
I
countries that have nuclear. Well, North Korea now as well. Yeah.
yeah, no.
But yeah, those are the only countries that have nukes.
If you'd have held a gun to my head and asked me, I probably would have said the Saudis have nukes, but no, they don't.
No, the Saudis don't have nukes.
No, you're right. You're right. I'm just retarded. But yeah, no, it's good. It is white pilling
later,
to
I'm
know.
gonna send you a clip later, and I think you'll find it extremely funny.
But yeah, it's good to know that the only nuclear Muslim power is completely ineffectual, and even while fighting a war against their longtime hated foe India, they can't even keep their own people from rebelling against them.
Well, I mean, they're all Pajids, so
Well, yeah, but they're Hindus and Muslims, whatever.
Pajids. At the end of the day, all Pajit.
Yes. Well, good thing about this one is I won't have to do much editing, so that's going to be good. That's fun.
Yeah. No, that's good. You probably just need to black out a couple of.
Yeah, no, it was a good one, and internet held up. Like I said, I survived the tornadoes. Tornadoes did not kill me or my family. Did not hit my house in any way. We survived. Everything is good. Everything is peachy keen. And then we're hopefully the internet holds up because I'm going to be streaming more often, gaming and stuff like that. So I'm going to stream on Memorial Day.
The fact that your internet is unstable is really concerning, to be honest with you.
Well, it's been stable this
morning. You're the American here.
Yeah, but it was because of a power outage caused by a tornado. It's not like the internet was dog shit.
No, but in the previous weeks, it's been dog shit though, right?
Oh well, yeah, but that problem seems to have been sorted out. I don't know what the problem was, but I'm able to stream, and we haven't had any problems on this stream, so it's good to go. And like I said, I'm planning on streaming on Memorial Day, so I'm not working that day. So
yeah, that's right.
13 right. On Memorial Day, I'm going to stream. I'm going to try to do it all in one sitting, but I'm going to play Castlevania Symphony of the Night as Richter Belmont. And I'm not going to 100% it or anything like that, but I'm going to try to, I'm going to try to beat as many of the bosses as I can, and then, I'm going to try to do the whole thing in one sitting. That's the plan. That's like going to be the plan for my Memorial Day stream. I'll post the links whenever I do it. Hell, I might stream today even. I don't know. I think it depends on how I'm feeling after I edit this and get it uploaded everywhere. If I do stream, it'll be later this afternoon. It won't be Castlevania. It'll be something else, but probably be Phantasy Star Online. We'll figure it out. But yeah, no, it was a good show.